everything stopped. That was an historic time. And it has been an historic time. Like, people are going to read about this 50, 60, 70, 80 years from now. Well, couple the pandemic with what we are seeing across our country and the conversations and the protests and everything taking place. And I once again reiterated it to my mom today, and also remind myself of it. I mean, these are historic times. And so I don't know how many times that happens in a lifetime. I really don't. I just gave you a few examples of it, but those stick out to me. And we're living it. So we're also talking through it and discussing it. And it's been a big part of our show this week. It has been the only part. We do talk sports still. We will talk sports still. But sports is intersected with society, as I continue to say. And maybe no more than even in the last 24 hours or so, quite frankly, with the Drew Brees discussion, a subsequent apology, and the reaction around, and where the conversation then takes us and has taken us. And it's got a lot of tentacles to it. It's complex. I in my life, try to simplify things. It's a complex issue, discussion, yet I still try to go back to simplify it. And if you've heard me this week, I said, do we need to be right? And can we just do right? Well, I think there was a lot of doing right over the last 5-6 days, over the last week in protests. 95% of people, I think, peacefully protesting. Austin told us about his experience on Saturday here in Jacksonville, joining the protest. Doug Marrone joined a protest in San Marco yesterday. I think there have been some eloquent statements and words from Emmanuel Acho to Jags owner Shad Khan. I will be honest with you. I think in the last 24 hours, we've gotten back to trying to be right again. And I don't know if that gets away from the doing or if that's just part of the process. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. But I feel like in the last 24 hours, we're in the be right category once again. And everybody's kind of separating themselves into a certain corner to some degree. Did the Drew Brees apology help any? We will discuss that today. The latest on Jake Fromm, the Georgia quarterback and Buffalo Bill quarterback who got drafted. He now comes under fire for a statement he made back in 2019. A popular thing this day and age is the word receipts, and I'm not talking from a cash register. Well, people are holding people accountable for those receipts that are showing up. So what you have said in the past does matter because, like we've always warned people, social media doesn't go away. What you've said, and sometimes it's video and sometimes it's in writing, but also social media does not go away. And so we are going to see more of this, more of the Jake Fromm kind of instance, which we'll share with you in just a bit. And then how about late last night, Florida State and Mike Norvell's comments, and then Marvin Wilson, who, by the way, is a stud player for Florida State, his reaction and what that means. And today it gets me into a conversation we had briefly earlier this week, but I want to explore a little bit more. Is the bubble in sports breaking? What do I mean by that? I do believe people in sports live in a bubble, in big-time college football and in the NFL, in big-time professional sports where all that money is there, and it's all about winning trophies, and it's all about accumulating dollars, and there's an embarrassment of riches, really, and glory that go along with it. And so things get swept under the rug. And by the way, they get swept under the rug for coaches and people in high positions. They also get overlooked for players who do wrong, too, and get covered up or dismissed. And we know that's taken place. So there's different varying levels of this. But is the sports bubble breaking this week to a degree? Is the what stays in the locker, happened in the locker room, stays in the locker room now breaking with people willing to talk on this platform? So that's a long introduction to the show today, but hello, Austin Lane.
How you doing, man? Good. Yeah, I mean, I think you pretty much wrapped it up nicely in a nice little bow there. I don't have much to bring to the introduction, if you will. I just think that right now where we're at, and we're sitting here on a Thursday, and we're about a little more than about a week removed now from when I kind of addressed the situation on last Friday.
Yeah, Friday afternoon, right?
And now I see where we're at, and I'll be honest, man, it's catastrophic just how much has changed in those past 6 days now, let's just call it. In good and bad, I think.
I was going to say,
right?
yeah.
Because, there's been a lot of progress made, and there's also been, some players that have been brought to light. And Man, it's crazy to comment, right? Because obviously we're going to touch on Drew Brees today. And Drew Brees, from an athletic standpoint, from a competitor, a guy that I played against, I have the utmost respect for what that guy brings to a football team, okay? I mean, he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And now we're kind of in the doldrums a little bit where it's like, well, where does he go from here? Okay, because yes, he had his comments yesterday. Now he's made an apology, and we're kind of just left wondering, like, well, what's going to become of this? And there's a couple instances that are going on now. You mentioned Jake Fromm a little bit, and to me, I don't want it to make it seem like, all right, well, this is a great time to be alive now because people are starting to come to the surface and we're starting to find out what people really believe in, right? And the people that kind of present themselves to be, like the wolves in sheep's clothing, let's call them out. Let's get on Twitter, let's cancel them, let's do all this stuff. I don't want to co-sign on that.
That's the be right mentality, in my opinion.
Yeah, that is the be right mentality. But at the same time, a part of me is conflicted because it's like, well, these people need to be called out, right? Because let's be honest here. Right now, whether it's sports, whether it's the world, in my opinion, it's not a black and white thing. It's a right versus wrong thing, okay? And I think that if there's some people out there, and once again, not saying this is Drew Brees, but there's some people out there who are on the wrong side of things, I mean, I think they need to be held accountable, So I guess it's conflicting to me where it's like, how much is enough? Do we have to cancel this person forever? Do we expect Drew Brees to retire now? Or do we accept Drew Brees' apology, listen to him saying that he's going to help the black communities and everything, and he's going to stand, with the Black Lives Matter movement, and we're okay? And I don't have an answer for you. I mean, I'm not the ringleader. I don't have the jurisdiction here. I just don't know how to feel about it.
Yeah, it's a great point. I was going to get this a little later, but I'll bring it up because it segues right in right now. I think it's fast. We're all deep diving on ourselves a little bit as we have these discussions because, quite frankly, man, I talk about the bubble, and another bubble I'm going to talk about a little bit is the white person's bubble a little bit today. I mean, I live in that.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I don't know if we all do, but I live in that, and I have. So you start bringing discussions up and having the discussions we've had this week, and I'm not saying we've never had them before either. I mean, one of my favorite times in going over history and from quotes I remember and impacts of my childhood in going to school is Martin Luther King Jr. Of course. I mean, the quotes that I've always quoted from him and read about. But then I also said like this to my mom. I said, hey, I learned a lot about Martin Luther King, but I didn't learn about this Black Wall Street. And I didn't learn about these things. Like, I didn't know that. Like, why didn't I know that? So why are we reading more stuff now? Are we seeing more stuff? Are we asking ourselves? Are we fooling ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. How ignorant are we to some of the issues, discussions that we don't maybe understand because we live in a bubble, not out of hate or anything misguided, just because it's the way it's been, And so I think we're asking ourselves a lot of those questions, maybe as white people we are, but maybe we all are, to a degree, and so I wonder those things. I mean, I'm talking out loud here. I'm wondering a lot right now. I don't know all the answers. I don't have all the answers, but I love that we're having all these discussions. I love that I'm having these discussions as well. So I thought about this when it comes to Drew Brees, because he's so well respected in the league. Yeah. I've never heard a bad thing about Drew Brees. Mm-hmm. Never.
Well, now keep in mind, he did call me the MF for that one time. I told the story.
He did. But that was between the lines. And heck, you know what? I mean, at times, was he wrong?
Yeah. I mean, hey, I'm just saying, like, I thought Drew Brees was like this clean-cut kind of dude, and all of a sudden, a quarterback sack later, he's getting in my face with some expletive language, let's just say.
Well, we see what Phillip Rivers does.
Of course.
And we saw Blaine Gabbert that one time on the sidelines. So.
It's football. You got to be a little crazy, and you got to have a little bit of a crazy streak to be successful. I get that.
So I ask you this. We do know universally, up until 36 hours ago, Drew Brees is about as respected as you can get in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
And so I say, do you think Drew Brees has a good heart?
Go and ask me this. Do I think Drew Brees is a good person?
Yeah.
I think Drew Brees is a good person. I wholeheartedly do. I mean, I haven't really had long conversations with the guys. Just from the teammates, what he brings to the table, of what I ask him, I think Drew Brees is a good person.
Do you think he's a good teammate? White, black, offense, defense, receiver, defensive back.
So this is where I stand on this, and this is why obviously I was against Drew Brees' comments, but this is where I stand on the whole issue. Okay, in my opinion, Brent, there's two types of people in this world. There's the type of people who can see somebody suffering, who can see somebody in agony, who can see someone that's just not mentally well, and they can put their arms around them and embrace them and say, you know what, I'm here for you. I don't know what you're going through, but I'm going to put my differences aside, my thoughts aside, and I'm just going to try to comfort you and make you feel better. And then there's the latter that says, you know what, I'm going to stay grounded. I don't care why you're upset. I don't care why you're sad. I'm going to think my way, and good luck to you, okay? When we talk about a locker room all the time, we always hear the term family. Now, I don't think an NFL locker room is a family, because a coach used to always tell me this. In a family, you always have to drag the weakest person with you, okay? That's what family is, right? If someone's sick, you're there for them. If someone's dragging your family down, you try to help them out. Well, in football, in the NFL, if you have somebody that's weak, what happens? They get cut, okay? Yeah. And then they're gone. So football is a brotherhood, but a brotherhood is still a very strong bond, all right? There's that camaraderie. So in my opinion, Drew Brees understands that there's a lot of his black brothers right now, you know, part of the brotherhood, that are hurting. Okay, and there's a lot of people in that locker room right now, white and black, that are upset, and they're ticked off, and it's hard to voice their frustrations. Drew Brees should know this. Drew Brees is the captain of that team. He has to know this. He's like a CEO. If he doesn't know this, then he's just naive. But my point is, when there were people hurting, when his teammates were, I guess, asking for someone to back them up, he, for selfish reasons, had his own agenda, had his own initiative. Not saying maybe that initiative was wrong in the way he thought it was, and obviously he didn't think it was going to blow back like this, or he wouldn't have said it.
Would never said it, right? Yeah.
But the point is, instead of embracing the people that are feeling kind of bad right now and upset, he didn't do that.
Well, and so I guess that's my point. Everybody thinks Drew Brees is a good guy. Mm-hmm. He's not a mean-spirited guy. Black, white, indifferent, what he's done for that community through Hurricane Katrina to recently. By the way, this was a guy a month and a half ago who was being lauded for his $5 million donation to coronavirus pandemic in New Orleans. A player made a $5 million donation.
Correct.
So we know where he's coming from in that regard. But this is where I think we as society, we as people have to be very careful. Ignorance is not an excuse. Being tone deaf is not an excuse. Right. And we've seen that at times. We use that word tone deaf often in these kind of situations, or even during the pandemic or whatever. Right. We said that all along about Major League Baseball. Don't be tone deaf to the situation we're in. 30 million Americans out of work, and you're grumbling over billions of dollars. Right. That's tone deaf. So we acknowledge that. But that also goes back to sometimes the bubble I think we live in. And I think Brees did this out of ignorance and that tone-deaf nature more so than spite, hate, any of those kind of things. But the reaction was so loud. The reaction was so big. And one thing I want to ask you, and we're going to take a break, but when we come back, I want to ask you this. Did we lose sight by taking corners and taking stances and being so harsh one way or another, maybe not even accepting this latest apology, which I'll ask you if people will. Yeah. Michael Thomas looks like he has, but has others. Mm-hmm. Shannon Sharp says guy should retire. Ed Reed said, I have no respect for you anymore.
Malcolm Jenkins had a very long-winded, expletive-laced, filled, I guess, Instagram video yesterday. And keep in mind, I mean, that's a teammate.
That's a teammate. So
that's a brother.
So do we run the risk if we just do that and cancel everybody out, into your words, stopping the conversation? Mm-hmm. Like in the long run, could we say that Drew Brees did everybody a favor by sparking the conversation?
Sure.
Even though, in my opinion, he was misguided, it was mistimed, it was tone deaf. And at the same time, I really go back to what I read at the top of the show, I think Monday, which was Richard Sherman's tweet, and it was about the white quarterback and about what Carson Wentz had done over the weekend and what he said, and others followed suit, the white quarterback and who was listening to the white quarterback. And then a couple of days later, the white quarterback says something that's so tone deaf, and there's the backlash. You know, as I kind of comprehended this a little bit more over the last 24 hours, I come back to the Richard Sherman tweet, the Richard Sherman quote about what the white quarterback's role is, not only in the NFL, but in their own communities and society and as superstar athletes.
See, to me, when you have guys like Carson Wentz speak out, when you have guys like Nick Foles speak out, that's what makes it so special. And that's what makes their word so strong, because you had a guy like Drew Brees, who once again, I think, didn't mean to offend pretty much an entire locker room and maybe an entire city, but he did. But it goes to show you that, listen, there is a miscommunication, okay? People are not on the same page right now. And obviously Drew Brees, being one of those guys, isn't on the same page. Now, Michael Thomas, I think today kind of accepted Drew Brees' apology, and hopefully they can move on now, right? And we'll see what Emmanuel Sanders has to say. I just don't think it's going to be as simple as Drew Brees says he's sorry, and then the player's going to be like, all right, man, welcome back.
I think it's
really
clear as day. It's already
so.
Not that simple.
Yeah, it's not that simple. But like I said,
we don't need
Michael
to make
Thomas,
things simple.
No, true. But I said, like, Michael Thomas, I mean, according to his words on Twitter, seems to have forgiven Drew Brees. So we'll see from that. But it's just, when you have some of the bad and when you have some of the side where it kind of makes you shake your head a little bit and go, man, what are you doing? Like, why would you say that? Come on. Like, we're doing so good over here. We're making progress. And all of a sudden you slowed us down a little bit. Well, then it makes you appreciate the guys like Carson Wentz, okay? It makes you appreciate the guys like Nick Foles. It makes you appreciate maybe the outliers, if you will, the white quarterbacks who are kind of the minority in this movement right now, but it makes you appreciate them because they're going about things the right way.
You know what else is as wild? Again, we're going to talk about a lot of these things and also the latest going on. And we have some, as I like to say always, we have some sports as well. NBA has voted.
We're talking UFC today, too.
Talk a little UFC. Got a guest coming on here in a little bit. We're also talk a little bit about the Jags and what about the other bottom feeders that are viewed in the NFL? Where do they rank? Kind of where do they sit? Is it appropriate? And also, coaches are allowed back in the building if they choose to be. Is that a good sign? What does that mean? How much will that help kind of return to play? Also, Duval County, as I mentioned yesterday during our interview with Bobby Ramsey, June 15th, they'll be able to begin phase one of their return to sports in Duval County. So there are some sports going on, of course, but we are going to mix the sports conversation with this conversation, which we've had all week because I continue to say sports intersects with society. What else struck me about this last 24 hours? I know Drew Brees is one of the greatest of all time. I get it. But there are a lot of people that say, that's just sports. Or, it's sport. Come on, guys. It's not real life. It's like, you guys think you're bigger than you are. You make all this money.
Sure.
I would say to that, like, sports figures once again have been a highly noticeable during this last week. Like, I don't know if that's just the world I'm living in or if it's the world. Like, I don't know if I just don't know actors and actresses, and I haven't seen them. I don't know. Maybe they've been just as relevant. Maybe musicians have too.
Yeah, they're out there. They're out there.
So, but sports is in those category where those figures are important, and specifically quarterbacks of NFL teams. Have they reached a point where they have to be very careful what they say because the power of their words is that of an owner, is that of a big-time CEO, is that of a big-time politician, of that of a big-time musician? I mean, are we there? And I think Drew Brees is a great example of that. We might be there. And then there's also this question. Will something like this prevent white players, quarterbacks, other athletes from saying anything for fear of backlash if they're misinterpreted, even though if they don't feel like they're saying anything wrong, it doesn't come across well? Because it's too late once it's out there and you see the backlash.
It never goes away.
It does go away. And so that's what I'm a little worried about in the last 24 hours. I was like, we need prominent people to say this, and especially white players, white people to say things. But is there going to be fear of backlash after what Drew Brees just said and happened?
So basically what you're getting at here is, in terms of political statements, should professional athletes go down that alley, or is that something that they should maybe just...
Well, I do think the political play comes into it, but I just think in general, I understand this was about the flag and patriotism. I get it, and that gets spun into political belief. I understand that. But I also think at the root of patriotism, at the root of the flag, it's not anything to do with politics necessarily. Sure. I understand it turned into that in the last 4 years, but the root of patriotism shouldn't be Democrat or Republican and political.
Yeah.
My point is, will Gardner Minshew, who has a platform, be afraid to say anything on that platform, whatever he's feeling? Whether people will agree or not, the black community will put their arms around or not, will they be afraid to even attempt to rally people and say something because of what just went down with Drew Brees?
Yeah, I mean, what it comes down to at the end of the day, Brent, once again, it's to me, it's not the black and white thing. It's the right and wrong thing.
Yeah.
Okay? I think the way that Drew Brees answered that question, it was wrong, right? Because he didn't acknowledge what it was for in the first place, right? Okay, I mean, take the politics aside of it. It's just, is it right or wrong? And obviously, a lot of his teammates and a lot of his peers in the NFL would agree with me right now. You saw the videos. You saw the outrage. So to answer your question, do white athletes, like more white quarterbacks, would they be afraid to speak out just because of the consequences? Well, let me ask you this question. If they don't speak out, should they even be more afraid, right? Because let's be fair here. The quarterback position of the NFL, it's the ultimate double standard, okay? There's quarterbacks who don't have social media for a reason, right? Because you have to represent your company, the team, to the fullest, okay? So some quarterbacks don't have social media. You don't see a lot of quarterbacks out at the beach bars, stuff like that. Shout out to Blake Bortles, though. He was the exception. But you don't see a lot of quarterbacks, out in public gallivanting, and having a lot of fun because that's expected of them. That's the double standard. And I always say I think the quarterback position is probably the hardest position to play in all professional sports. So when we say that, the quarterback is a position that's on a pedestal even greater than the best wide receiver, even greater than the best defensive end. And I think with the quarterback position comes a lot of responsibility. And if you don't say something, I think you will get called out because you're the field general, you're the leader of the team. So you have to say something, but keep in mind, it has to be the right thing, or else it's going to be. Hey, I'm not saying it's fair, Brent. I'm not saying that's the way it should be, but I'm saying the double standard of the quarterback position, I'm saying that's the way it is.
I think what my point being here is you better run it by someone and make sure it's not as tone deaf as Drew Brees was.
Sure.
Because I think people can respect different opinions and beliefs, but timing is everything as well. And that was ill-timed and not well done, and here we are. So we'll talk about it. Is the bubble bursting in sports? I've got some thoughts on that, and I think that is a big issue, believe it or not. I know it sounds a little cliche, is the bubble bursting, but that hasn't happened in the sports world very often. I feel like it's happening a bit this week. We'll have more of it on ESPN 690 next.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Cloudy skies with on and off scattered showers, a few heavy downpours today. Our high temperatures will make it back to the upper 70s to low 80s, below average. A lingering shower this evening, mostly cloudy with overnight lows in the upper 60s to low 70s. With your First Alert forecast, I'm Action News Jax meteorologist Garrett Biedenball.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds Buy One, Get One Wedding Band Sale through June 14th at Beards Diamonds. When you think about your AC system, do you think cool, clean, efficient air? Or maintenance, costly repairs, filters, refrigerant, wear and tear from our extreme Jacksonville temperatures, year-round humidity, and salty air? You know that most of the time, AC ownership is anything but stress-free. That's why Wakehoff's AC offers stress-free AC ownership. For a low monthly cost, starting at just $100 per month, you get a brand new efficient AC system with a smart thermostat. All of your repairs are covered with both parts and labor at no charge. Wakehoff's is going to conduct all your maintenance visits for free, keeping your system running cool, efficient, and clean. And they'll even take care of all your filters. Starting at just $100 per month or just $155 a month for the highest performing system. Imagine a brand new efficient system. No cost repairs, no cost maintenance, no cost filters, no stress. It's the stress-free AC program from Wakehoff's. Call them today, 880-5525 or wakehoffsac.com.
I call them 3 shirt days. That's when the summer heat in Jacksonville just sizzles. It's relentless, and you want to be prepared for it. Bold City Heating and Air will help you do that. Nothing worse than sweating in your own home and wondering, hey, what happened to the AC? We've been there before. Your air conditioning unit needs to be ready for the heat. It might need to get serviced. The hot weather is here, and Bold City Heating and Air is here for you, just like they have been for my family the last couple of years. Right now, it's $25 off an annual maintenance. Bold City will thoroughly service, clean, and test your system to ensure it is working efficiently. Then you'll be comfortable this summer. All summer. After the $25 off, it's just $70. Book your maintenance service now and save. Save now, beat the heat. Visit boldcityac.com or call 904-379-1648 to schedule. Mirza and his staff are ready to take care of you and your family. Be bold and beat the heat and make it a one-shirt day, even in the summer heat. Go to boldcityac.com.
This is a CMG Open for Business report. During these changing times, it's challenging for businesses across North Florida, big and small, but businesses are adjusting to meet your needs in a safe and comfortable way. Here's today's list of businesses that are open for you. Fred Cotton's Landmark Barbecue, Fiber Mortgage, Pie Heaven Bakery, Gary's Carcraft, Weeks Brothers Glass, Lloyd's Construction. If you're open for business, let us know by emailing us at openjax@cmg.com. Together, we're getting through this.
Chronic or acute pain doesn't just disappear during a crisis, and neither does Cora Physical Therapy. Throughout this time, Cora remains dedicated to your health and safety. With 15 Jacksonville area clinics, Cora Physical Therapy provides quality care wherever you're most comfortable. In clinic, where we disinfect after every touch. Telehealth gives you remote access to licensed therapists, or Cora therapists will even come to you. We are grateful for our patients' trust and our clinicians' bravery. What matters most is your health. So Cora provides care anywhere you prefer it. Learn more at coraphysicaltherapy.com.
If you don't have Safe Touch monitoring, there's a good chance your system is getting monitored from someone's home. Yes, work from home has come to the security industry, but not at Safe Touch Security. At Safe Touch, that is totally unacceptable and doesn't meet UL requirements. At Safe Touch Security, our monitoring center is committed to maintaining our high standards. The only guaranteed response in the alarm industry with an incredible 8-second average. And our two-way communicator provides the very fastest response from the emergency authorities for burglary, medical, and fire. And the Safe Touch crash and smash technology detects crime before it enters the property. Our halo of protection and Safe Touch cameras report crime before it happens many times. And every Safe Touch security system is custom designed for you and comes with our exclusive Safe Touch parts and labor agreement at no charge. Safe Touch security systems have a guaranteed response and are installed by real professionals. No, you and your family are safe and protected the right way. Go to safetouch.com right now for more information. Safe Touch, doing what others can't for over 35 years. State license number EF0000233.
This message is brought to you by Community First Credit Union.
Well, it's been a difficult few weeks, to say the least. Jacksonville has seen tough times before, but nothing like this. Now, as we move towards reopening and getting back to work, let's not forget what we've experienced and what we've learned. And one thing we've learned is that there are no strangers in Jacksonville. We are one city, one community. And this pandemic has touched all of our lives, regardless of who we are. From Jack's Beach to Baldwin, from Fernandina to Fruit Cove, we've faced this thing together, because that's how we do things in Jacksonville. All of us at Community First realize that staying safe is what matters now. So as we start to bring our city and our lives back to life as we know it, that means looking out for each other. So that's what we'll do. And we'll get through this to a better, brighter future in Jacksonville.
Federally insured by NCUA.
Hey, it's Coos from Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Now, I know there's a ton of ways you can listen to the show, but did you know one of the ways is through a smart speaker? Yes, the Google Home, the Amazon Alexa. It's pretty easy to do. Just tell either of them to play ESPN 690. Try it out weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m., and you can listen to Action Sports Jacks.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
A lot of heavy issues here this week on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. A lot of discussion and dialogue, and it's been really good on a lot of different levels. And we're going to get back to it. Obviously, the Drew Brees situation, Jake Fromm, the latest today, and also Florida State and Marvin Wilson. We also talk some sports. Jaguars coaches allowed back in the building tomorrow. Will they go? What will it mean? Does it accomplish anything? Gets us closer to training camps, perhaps? We actually even got a date by one of the coaches on training camp when that could start for the Tampa Bay Bucks. So we have a lot to get to as the NBA approves back in action in late July. Brent Martineau, former Jags player and current MMA fighter Austin Lane here at Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. And sports got back to live action right here in Jacksonville a few weeks ago with 3 UFC cards in a span of 8 days, including UFC 249. And, this man was here for it. And one of the big stars when you talk UFC and the coverage on ESPN, Ariel Helwani joins us right now at Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Hey, man, thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the time in Jacksonville a few weeks back.
Guys, thank you very much for having me. Unfortunately, I did not make the trip. I was not in Jacksonville, so I don't mean to correct you right off the bat. But,
you did
I did watch.
Sorry.
No, I wasn't there, but I heard great things about the hospitality and about how everyone was treated. So one of these days, I'd love to visit.
Well, what was your take then from afar? Apologies there. I thought you were involved in it to some degree, but what was your take on how they came back and how it came back? Was it a success?
Well, everyone was really happy. It seemed like the fighters were really happy with the way that they were treated by the organization, by the commission, etc. I think it's really been interesting because they held those 3 events at the VyStar Arena, and obviously no one was there. And now since then, they've moved their events to Las Vegas, and it's in a totally different facility. It's in like a quaint, I don't even want to call it an arena. It's called the UFC Apex. It was built at their headquarters, and it was essentially built for these shows without fans. But the Nevada State Athletic Commission has been very strict about, the rules and regulations and testing and social distancing and wearing masks. And I think it's actually shed some light on the fact that the Florida State Boxing Commission wasn't as strict as they probably should have been. Now, in hindsight, it seems like all went well. Only one fighter and 2 of his cornermen tested positive, and that was prior to the first event. And I don't want to minimize that one fighter. But it was a big-name fighter, Jacare Souza, and by all accounts, he's doing well now. But to think that they did 3 events and they only had 1 positive test for 1 fighter, I think is something that they should be pretty happy about, because I think a lot of people were expecting more. So overall, I think the UFC was really happy that Florida allowed them to do the events here and open their doors first to them and allowed them to do it under the Florida State Boxing Commission regulation. And I think that actually set the ball in motion for Nevada and other commissions to say that they were comfortable with it as well.
Hey, Ariel, Austin Lane here, man. On behalf of MMA fans everywhere, let me just say thank you for joining the show today, because usually here on ESPN 690, we talk a lot of golf, and every once in a while we get some MMA talk. So thank you for joining, man, and kind of giving something in my wheelhouse a little bit.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me, Austin.
No problem. So,
hey, tell him you're like a big golfer or something. Just do me a favor. You play golf. You play golf or something like that.
Nope, no golf here.
There it is.
All MMA all the time.
Yes, there it is, Brent. You can't have it both ways, man. Pick a side and stay on it. All right. So you mentioned the UFC Apex, Ariel, and obviously UFC 250 happening this weekend. Felicia Spencer, a girl that I know who trains in Orlando, taking on Amanda Nunes. I think we look at Felicia Spencer, kind of an underrated striker a little bit with a great ground game. Obviously got her rounds in against Cyborg, right? And we have Amanda Nunes, who's arguably the greatest female mixed martial artist of all time. It's going to be a tough test for Amanda Nunes for sure. But if Amanda Nunes was to win this fight, what's left for her? Like we always talk about the big money fights, when you become a champion and things like that. As far as I see from the division right now, there's not much left for Amanda Nunes. So is she kind of on the back nine of her career? Is she on her swan song? Or is there still a lot for her to accomplish?
Okay, first of all, I appreciate the question and the knowledge, because you do a lot of these, radio spots, and you get a lot of, sort of uneducated hosts or things like that. So clearly I know of your background, Austin. I know that you're a fighter, but it's good to get some educated questions, if you know what I'm saying.
The uneducated part will come from me. That's why I'll ask you about golf.
Yes, of course. I did love the match. The match was a lot of fun. That's all I got as far as golf is concerned. So Amanda Nunes, I don't think she's on the back end, because first of all, she's won 10 in a row, and I know that it's a little thin at 145 and 135, but there's still some competition out there. Let's say she wins this fight. And by the way, I'm not sleeping on her opponent, Felicia Spencer, and it has nothing to do with the fact that we come from the same hometown, Montreal, Quebec, Canada. She's really good, 9-1. I would say her most impressive performance in the UFC was her one loss, when she fought Chris Cyborg with a lot of heart, will, determination. She kept moving forward. It was supremely impressive how she fought her. She wasn't phased. She wasn't rattled by her, went the distance. I really walked away feeling like she could be a legit contender at 145. And since then, she's won a fight, and now she gets the title shot. And a lot of people believe that Amanda Nunes is best on her feet. And then when you consider the fact that Felicia Spencer is best on the ground, she's a BJJ black belt, I feel like if she could take this fight to the ground, where Jermaine Durandamy, who Amanda Nunes fought back in December, took the fight, and Jeraine Duranamy isn't a ground fighter and doesn't have the credentials, at least on the ground, that Felicia Spencer has, this could be really interesting. So I'm not sleeping on Felicia. I know she's a 4-1 underdog, but I think it'll be a tough fight. If, in fact, Amanda gets by her, I'd like to see her go back down to 135 and fight someone like Irene Aldana, who looks really good as of late, has won 5 of her last 6. She's coming off a great knockout in December on that same card where Amanda fought against Caitlin Vieira. I really do think that she could give Amanda a tough test. So there's always going to be people out there. Are there sexy fights? Maybe not. But then eventually, a couple more fights, we could get the trilogy fight against Valentina Shevchenko. So I really think that that would be amazing, too, because Valentina's the 125 champion. So all that to say, there's still stuff out there, but she's got to focus on Saturday.
All right, man. We'll get you for a few more minutes here. Won't take up too much more of your time, but I got a couple quick hitters for you real fast here. Obviously, you also cover the NBA, and it's cool to watch because I can tell you just enjoy it. You're almost like a kid in a candy store. You follow the NBA. You're a big fan of it. You talk about it, and you're great. If you were to take, like, Steph Curry, if you were to take LeBron James right now in the NBA, and they're going to voice their displeasure about not getting enough money, it would be headlines across the world. Like, wow, LeBron James might sit out because he's not getting enough money. When you talk about a guy like John Jones, who's arguably the greatest MMA fighter of all time, saying that he wants more money and going against literally a CEO who's notorious for kind of doing things his way, what's going to come of this? I mean, should this be more of headlines right now saying like John Jones wants more money, and should the UFC give him more money?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great analogy. That's exactly it. It always drives me nuts when people compare Dana to, say, Adam Silver or Roger Goodell. He's not a commissioner, right? He's just an owner. And so to have arguably the best fighter on the planet right now and arguably the greatest fighter of all time openly feuding with the owner of the team, that's a really interesting spot. So I'm curious. I mean, what I would love to see happen right now is they need to just stop tweeting, stop texting, stop talking about it, and like sit down either in the same room or on a Zoom call or something like that, do it virtually, and just figure this thing out. Because John's point of contention is, hey, when I signed my last contract, he told me that if I move up to heavyweight, I'm going to get a bump in pay, and you're not giving me a bump in pay right now. So what's going on? And Dana's saying, no, you're going to have to do what's on your contract. And so they just need to figure this out, sit down, and give the people the fight that everyone wants to see, and that's John Jones versus Francis Ngannou.
Ariel, last question for you, man, then we're going to let you go. So we had Dana White on the show right before the UFC events here in Jacksonville, and he did 2 things, namely that I take from that interview. Number 1, he criticized the media big time, and I have that as my ringtone now for my co-host talks to me or he calls me on the phone. I thought it was a great soundbite. But the second thing that I took away from it, I asked him the question. The Ultimate Fighter right now. You know, ESPN obviously hurting for content, hurting for live sporting content, and I brought up the Ultimate Fighter to Dana White, and he said they're actually indeed working on it right now as we speak. In your opinion, who would make the perfect, I guess, coaches on the Ultimate Fighter? Because keep in mind, it's ESPN's kind of embrace to the world of, hey, this is mixed martial arts, this is reality television, so they have to have good coaches. Who would you like to see be the coaches of the next season of the Ultimate Fighter?
Number 1, Austin Lane, definitely, without a doubt. No, hey, count me out for the Ultimate Fighter. We saw that for like 15 years. It ran its course. I have no idea why they're interested in running that one up again. I mean, like, it ran its course. We have the Contender Series now. We don't need the Ultimate Fighter. We don't need the hijinks. We don't need the coaches' challenges. We don't need any of that stuff. And I mean, not surprised to hear him take a shot at the media, but I would say that the MMA media has done a great job of covering, the UFC's return. And I think that we should appreciate the media a little more because, it's tough times out there for the media, and I think that we're doing a great job.
Well, and especially because
your ringtone.
Well, no, I mean, let's be honest though, man. I'm part of the media too, as well, right? So I mean, I kind of just had it as more of just laughing at everything.
Yeah,
like
you said it was pointed at me. Yeah, much like this whole thing.
At Brent. It wasn't pointed at me.
The uneducated point of view. Ariel Helwani's MMA Show podcast. Make sure you check it out. Hey, man, thanks for joining us, and we appreciate the few minutes.
All the best, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, man.
You bet. Ariel Helwani, did I just assume that he was in Jacksonville, or did I see him in interviews during that week that he might have been back home like everybody else is?
I think you probably saw him in Bristol, back home in like the studios talking.
I guess I didn't realize that.
But no, I see where you're coming from, though, man. It's okay.
But
it's all right,
by the way, this, when you say UFC Apex, like I'm reading about 25-foot cage as opposed to a 30-foot cage.
Sure.
That doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, I mean, so it's a little different, obviously, right? Because it's more considered a training center than it is actually like a live venue, per se.
Okay.
But, I mean, in terms of like 5 feet difference, that's not that big of a deal. I mean, for some styles of fighting, it could be like a style bender or like a John Jones who's trying to stay long, use the whole cage. That's a big deal. But for 95% of the UFC fighters out there, they won't notice a difference.
All right, we appreciate Ariel Helwani coming on. MMA Show podcast. Check it out. Obviously, UFC 250 taking place from Las Vegas coming up tomorrow night on ESPN Plus and pay-per-view. When we get back, we talk some sports, and we're Drew Brees, Jake Fromm, and Florida State. A new statement issued by Mike Norvelle. We'll have it for you on ESPN 690.
Oye, amigo, it is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
We've talked about this before. When a bank gives you $100,000 by mistake, do not go spend that money because you're going to get into a lot of trouble for it. But an Albuquerque teenager found $135,000 in cash next to an ATM. What would you do, Stugotz?
Finders keepers. The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
I call them 3 shirt days. That's when the summer heat in Jacksonville just sizzles. It's relentless, and you want to be prepared for it. Bold City Heating and Air will help you do that. Nothing worse than sweating in your own home and wondering, hey, what happened to the AC? We've been there before. Your air conditioning unit needs to be ready for the heat. It might need to get serviced. The hot weather is here, and Bold City Heating and Air is here for you, just like they have been for my family the last couple of years. Right now, it's $25 off an annual maintenance. Bold City will thoroughly service, clean, and test your system to ensure it is working efficiently. Then you'll be comfortable this summer, all summer. After the $25 off, it's just $70. Book your maintenance service now and save. Save now, beat the heat. Visit boldcityac.com or call 904-379-1648 to schedule. Mirza and his staff are ready to take care of you and your family. Be bold and beat the heat and make it a one-shirt day, even in the summer heat. Go to boldcityac.com. Oh, you know how hot it is in Jacksonville. Summer is here. Hotter weather means your family should be drinking more water. Stay hydrated in a healthy way. Take care of your family by having clean, purified water with a Kinetico system from CG Water. How about this? You can remove up to 99% of contaminants. And right now, you get this incredible offer, a free 200 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Kinetico Premier softener, a softener that's non-electric and uses less salt. Forget the expensive bottled water. Call CGC at 904-552-1242. And remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. CGC will test your tap water so you can better understand what's in your water. It's free, and there's no obligation to buy anything. Remember, the limited time offer, get a free 200 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Kinetico Premier softener. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Serving Northeast Florida and Southeastern Georgia, CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Kinetico dealer.
If you're getting married, this is the hottest deal of the year, happening only at Beard's Diamonds.
No other jewelry store in North Florida can match it. Now through June 14th.
Buy any ladies' wedding band and get the men's band free.
It's a buy one, get one free on wedding bands. Now through June 14th only.
Beard's has brought in an extra designer inventory just for this sale.
At the guaranteed lowest price.
Beard's Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center.
Or at beardsdiamonds.com. This is a CMG Open for Business report. During these changing times, it's challenging for businesses across North Florida, big and small. But businesses are adjusting to meet your needs in a safe and comfortable way. Here's today's list of businesses that are open for you.
Wolfson Equipment, Consumers Electronics and Appliance, Signature Collision, Physical Therapy and Balance, Palatka Golf Club, Ferguson's Boat Works.
If you're open for business, let us know by emailing us at openjax@cmg.com. Together, we're getting through this. If you don't have SafeTouch monitoring, there's a good chance your system is getting monitored from someone's home. Yes, work from home has come to the security industry, but not at SafeTouch Security. At SafeTouch, that is totally unacceptable and doesn't meet UL requirements. At SafeTouch Security, our monitoring center is committed to maintaining our high standards. The only guaranteed response in the alarm industry with an incredible 8-second average. And our two-way communicator provides the very fastest response from the emergency authorities for burglary, medical, and fire. And the SafeTouch crash and smash technology detects crime before it enters the property. Our halo of protection and SafeTouch cameras report crime before it happens many times. And every SafeTouch security system is custom designed for you and comes with our exclusive SafeTouch SafeTouch parts and labor agreement at no charge. SafeTouch security systems have a guaranteed response and are installed by real professionals. Know you and your family are safe and protected the right way. Go to safetouch.com right now for more information. SafeTouch, doing what others can't for over 35 years. State license number EF0000233.
Hi everyone, I'm Kim, Client Relations Manager here at Reliant. Reliant has always been focused on the customer experience. Reliant has been a leader in the industry when it comes to using technology to connect with our clients whenever needed. So while everything around us continues to change and other contractors are scrambling to adapt to the new normal, Reliant remains steadfast, ready to serve our clients. Our client coordinators are available to discuss your roofing, solar, and hurricane shutter projects, so give us a call today.
This is a CMG Open for Business report. During these changing times, it's challenging for businesses across North Florida, big and small, but businesses are adjusting to meet your needs in a safe and comfortable way. Here's today's list of businesses that are open for you. Senior Helpers West Jacks, Newton Custom Construction, Straight Welding Supply, Mobile PTO, Quality Roofing, Vitus Roofing. If you're open for business, let us know by emailing us at openjax@cmg.com. Together, we're getting through this.
Tire Outlet, the local name in tires that you know and trust, is now offering mobile installation. Tire Outlet mobile installation is safe, no hassle, quick, and same day at your home or office. A Tire Outlet professional will bring and install your tires right on site while staying safely distanced. The only thing easier than getting new tires with mobile installation is making the appointment. Call 904-600-0089 to reserve an appointment. Tire Outlet is part of the First Coast community and is in this with you.
Our normal way of life has been changing quickly due to coronavirus. New rules to follow, and basically all sports have been put on hold. Heck, you might even be working from home. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martineau. If you're not in the car from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m., check in on Action Sports Jacks on your smart speaker. Tell your Amazon Echo or Google Home to play ESPN 690.
Now, back to Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 and in the iHeartRadio app.
It was after we won the Super Bowl. I was at a location. I'm not going to say where, but I was at a location. I was in California at the time. I was at a place to get breakfast. So I was in line and everything else. An older gentleman, white gentleman, told me, "That's not for you." I thought he was joking at first. My back was kind of turned, and I had just come off a Super Bowl, and and everything else. So if somebody's talking to me that way, you think about just not that circumstance and how people talk to you.
That is Super Bowl winning quarterback Russell Wilson. Surprisingly not an MVP yet, although it feels like he could have won it a few times. Talking today on a conference call with the media, and it's supposed to be about football. And I think what I read, pretty much the whole thing was about what's happening in our society today, in the United States today, using that platform and sharing stories like that. So we will talk a little bit more about it from a Russell Wilson standpoint. You'll hear from him throughout the show. One thing I want to get to here quickly is in the last hour, Mike Norvelle issued a statement from Florida State. And if you're not caught up on what happened, Tashawn Reed, who we've had on the show quite a bit from The Athletic, who's now covering the Raiders, actually used to cover Florida State and now covers the Las Vegas Raiders out there, is working on a piece around what's going on with sports and society here amidst the protests. And he got Mike Norvelle to comment. And in that comment, in that quote, was how he had discussions with every player on the team in the last couple of weeks and reached out to them and the rest of it, and they're going to take some action. Mm-hmm. Well, Marvin Wilson called him out on it. Now, Marvin Wilson, talented defensive player for Florida State, top 10 pick kind of guy. He's a beast, man.
Team captain.
Yeah.
All you got to know.
And he said, "This ain't true." This was late last night. He said, "This isn't true." He's like, "I haven't talked to Coach. He sent a generic blast out to everybody and hasn't talked to players individually. It's a lie. And until we get something straightened out here, we're not working out." Because Florida State's back on campus, voluntary workouts, and you can do that in Tallahassee. Well, he said, we're not working out. He actually spoke for the entire team. Now, who knows if the entire team would have followed suit and not worked out.
But to be fair, I think when a captain does that,
Yes.
I mean, this would be the equivalent of like a pause when I played if
Absolutely.
you said that. And if Puz says something, then you better do it, you know?
So then there was a meeting this morning in Tallahassee with the football team, with Mike Norvelle, and it was characterized by the athletic director as a good meeting. And the only part I didn't like about that characterization, like we're moving on, because this really isn't a time to be moving on. I'll get into that part of it a little bit later. Yeah. That's got to do a little bit of something with my sports bubble that I want to talk about. But now, within the hour, Mike Norvelle, the new coach, hasn't even coached a game, hasn't even really coached a practice because of coronavirus, has this to say. I'm proud of Marvin for utilizing his platform to express his reaction to my comments in an earlier interview. Last Saturday evening, I sent a text to each player individually to present an opportunity for open communication with me. Many members of our team chose to respond and have more in-depth conversations about issues and feelings. Marvin is right. It was a mistake to use the word every. Particularly at this time, words are important, and I'm sorry. Once again, I'm grateful for the opportunity that I was given to speak to our team more in depth as a result of Marvin being willing to express his feelings. We will continue to communicate and work together to be part of the solution, making our world a better place for all in capital letters. Overall, I think pretty good by Mike Norvelle to signify to, I think, applaud Marvin Wilson. That will probably do well in the locker room to applaud Marvin Wilson.
Sure.
But to also recognize that he blanket statement said, hey, I've had a discussion with everyone, which really, if you think about it, it's unrealistic. I mean, what's the chances in 4 days you've had a discussion, an in-depth discussion with every single person on your football team? It's pretty unrealistic. And he was called out by the player and taken to task. What do you make of it?
I guess I'm a little more, I don't say upset, but I'm just a little more whatever. Like, come on, man. I think more than you are right now, because here's my problem with what Norvelle did. Okay, number one, he lied. Okay, you can say that you said one word wrong, your words were miscontrived. You lied, man. Okay, you said you talked to every single player about the issue, and you went on this emotional, like, inspiring piece and everything, but you lied about it. And I guess this is where my frustration comes down to, Brent. The world of college football is cutthroat. And to be a successful college football dynasty, a program, what do you have to do? You have to be able to recruit, okay? So every single time you see a coach on TV, every single time you see a coach in a press conference, every single time you see a coach in society, I always feel like that coach is trying to put on for the program. That coach is always trying to, like, hey, look what I'm doing. Come over here. You know what I'm saying? Now, yeah, don't get me wrong. There's some coaches out there that are they're so well respected. They have built the dynasty like a Nick Saban, where it's like, man, I think Nick Saban can kind of say whatever he wants. He can remain quiet, and people are still going to go play for Alabama just because, like, he's built that up. But, like, in this case at Florida State, to me, this was an opportunity for him to say, you know what, I'm going to use my platform. And maybe I'm going to speak on racial injustice, but I'm also going to use a chance to get my voice out there and say, hey, look at me. I'm the right guy for Florida State. We're turning the program along. Check me out. And then you lied about it. So this is where my frustration with Norvelle comes from, where it's like, to me, he treated it like a press conference to say why Florida State's turning around and why he's going to be the guy for the job, but he lied. And now he got called out on that lie, and he's trying to move on like nothing happened.
Yeah, well, is he trying to move on like nothing happened? I don't know what else he's supposed to do right here. He had a team meeting, and he also acknowledged that his words were not accurate, and he also applauded Marvin Wilson.
Yeah.
I don't know what else he's supposed to do right now. I mean, I guess that's the like Drew Brees will talk about a little bit. His apology, you could tell it was a heartfelt apology, but you could also criticize his apology for still not really recognizing and acknowledging what the protests were all about from Colin Kaepernick. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a fair discussion. Like, you still have not really said, okay, this is not what it was about. And you have the platform to do that and join in and say that. And I think he's being criticized a little bit for that. And I think that's somewhat of a fair criticism. I don't really know what else Mike Norvelle is supposed to do. Now, he might pay for this in recruiting. The opposition will certainly make him pay for this in recruiting. Mm. He might pay for it in his own football team and kind of lay in the foundation and the groundwork for what's to come. But now it's about actions, about, okay, you've got to really have the back of your players and listen to your players and and do actionable things, I think, going forward. I don't know if this is something I would say, hey, man, you should never coach a game at Florida State about. I didn't feel that in essence. We'll put them behind the 8 ball, though.
Yeah, I just think that, listen, if you say, and I quote, I went back and forth individually with every player this weekend, and that was something that was important to me because this is heartbreaking in our country. Okay? That's you saying that you made the effort to talk to every single player because you understand what's going on. And then it turns out that you lied about it. I mean, yeah, I have an issue with that.
Yeah.
Okay? Because once again, you're trying to hype up yourself, hype up the program, hype up your culture of what you bring to the team, and it's a lie. So I get what you're saying, Brett. Yeah, he acknowledged the player that called him out, and that was the right thing to do. And how much more can Norvelle really do? Probably not that much. But I'm just saying, I think people still have a right to be a little disappointed in him and still be a little upset with him.
No doubt. He's going to have to earn it back. I mean, you talk about, the players have to earn trust of coaches sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes coaches have to earn trust of players. And Mike Norvell's in a tough spot. He's got a pandemic. He's got a mad football team. Mm-hmm. And now he's got to earn the trust back of players. Certain players, definitely Marvin Wilson, but maybe more, maybe the entire thing.
Let me ask you this. How does this come to fruition the rest of the season? Like, is there going to be issues, or do you think the players accept that apology?
I don't know. Yeah. I think it will be how he responds to it. And by the way, you said something. Lied. Welcome to college football and college sports and that bubble. The bubble is breaking. More on that on ESPN 690 next.
Hey, Jacksonville, are you ready for some good news? Right now, you can score tremendous savings during the construction sale at Arlington Toyota. You choose 0 down with low payments or no payments until 2021. Now that's huge. Get to Arlington today, where you can drive away in a Toyota RAV4 XLE for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments until 2021. That's a pre-owned RAV4 for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments until 2021. How about a Toyota Tacoma for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. That's a pre-owned Tacoma for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. Plus, with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everyone approved. And you get Arlington's 30-day exchange policy on any vehicle you purchase. As always, your safety is Arlington's priority. So go see him today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com. May offers for full details.
Chronic or acute pain doesn't just disappear during a crisis, and neither does Cora Physical Therapy. Throughout this time, Cora remains dedicated to your health and safety. With 15 Jacksonville area clinics, Cora Physical Therapy provides quality care wherever you're most comfortable. In clinic, where we disinfect after every touch. Telehealth gives you remote access to licensed therapists, or Cora therapists will even come to you. We are grateful for our patients' trust and our clinicians' bravery. What matters most is your health. So Cora provides care anywhere you prefer it. Learn more at coraphysicaltherapy.com.
I'm Action News Jax Tanika Hughes. As our communities work to get back to normal, Action News Jax will continue to be on the front lines,
answering your questions about our local economy.
There's reason for optimism.
A dedicated reporter every day covering unemployment, here to make sure state and city leaders are putting your health first.
The mayor will be ready to answer my specific questions.
I'm Action News Jax John Bachman. We know you have questions, and we will find the answers.
Action News Jax. Jax, recovery strong.
O'Reilly. This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the third time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's time for some straight talk. Even though most live sports are on hold now, big wireless companies haven't stopped playing games. They're always trying to lock you into overpriced contracts. With Straight Talk Wireless, there are no contracts. It runs on America's best network, same as the big carriers, but you save up to 50%. $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G. You might miss sports, but don't play games, you'll lose. Straight Talk Wireless. No contracts, no compromise.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
If you don't have Safe Touch monitoring, there's a good chance your system is getting monitored from someone's home. Yes, work from home has come to the security industry, but not at Safe Touch Security. At Safe Touch, That is totally unacceptable and doesn't meet UL requirements. At SafeTouch Security, our monitoring center is committed to maintaining our high standards. The only guaranteed response in the alarm industry with an incredible 8-second average. And our two-way communicator provides the very fastest response from the emergency authorities for burglary, medical, and fire. And the SafeTouch crash and smash technology detects crime before it enters the property. Our halo of protection and SafeTouch cameras report crime before it happens many times. And every SafeTouch security system is custom designed for you and comes with our exclusive SafeTouch parts and labor agreement at no charge. SafeTouch security systems have a guaranteed response and are installed by real professionals. Know you and your family are safe and protected the right way. Go to safetouch.com right now for more information. SafeTouch, doing what others can't for over 35 years. State license number EF0000233.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
I remember my dad telling me, all the time, every time I would get out of the gas station, don't put your hands in your pockets. And that was a real reality. And to be honest with you, I understood it, but I was like, after a while, you're kind of like, oh, okay. And as you grow older, and when you're 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you turn 13, 14, 15, you really understand why. And you understand fully, especially now being just turned 31 and having, 2 kids and a third one on the way, you really understand why the significance of what that means. And the fact that my dad even had to tell me that is a problem.
That is Russell Wilson, the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks. A black quarterback, of course, who is now speaking out on what we have seen across the country in the last week. A powerful voice in the world of sports as well. And good perspective as not only a player in the NFL, but a dad as well. Brent Martineau along with Austin Lane and Coos on a Thursday. Appreciate you hanging out with us as we have continued to talk about various topics over the last few days. It's been enlightening conversation, at times good dialogue and discussions. We appreciate you being a part of it. And we also have some sports heavy topics to get into as well, outside of the sports and society intersection and protests of what's happening and Drew Brees. But we will still continue to talk about many of them. We just talked Mike Norvelle and Florida State and how that will play out. How will that play out this season for Florida State? I mean, think about it. This is a guy who's not coached a practice or a game, and he's had to endure a pandemic and kind of a rough start of kind of trying to put your foundation in your program, and now just brought this upon himself with a blatant, pretty much lie, and being called out by a player. He's not the first coach to be called out by a player this week in the college football ranks. Another player called out Dabo Swinney, and after that, about 24 hours later, one of the coaches on Dabo Swinney's staff apologized for using the N-word in a practice. My thought on college football alone, but it does not just carry college football. I believe in the NFL. I believe in pro sports. They also live in a bubble. I believe, and by the way, this is nobody's fault necessarily. Well, it's somebody's fault. I think it's a systemic thing. So I'm not pinning the blame on one person. I think it's been going on for a long time. But I think at Jags headquarters, sometimes they live in a bubble. I mean, they kind of live in their own little world as a head coach, as an organization. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that bubble can be good, by the way. You want to stay away from all the noise out there. I understand. But when you stay away from the noise, and I brought this up with the Drew Brees conversation. I said this to you in a commercial break the other day. I said, it's easier to be tone deaf when you're a quarterback of the football team, because what you have trained yourself to do is not read papers, not listen to anybody outside, and just live in your own little space and own little world. So I almost think you don't really have this attachment with what's going on. I wouldn't even have been surprised if it took a PR guy to tell Drew Brees, look what's going on. Like, we are all seeing the backlash in the out. Everybody saying what they were saying, players, and Drew Brees might have been at home playing ball and didn't even realize it was going on because he doesn't have ESPN on. He doesn't have this. He's not on Twitter and Instagram every minute, every hour. I don't know. He might have seen it. I'm just telling you as an athlete.
Yeah.
How many times have we heard players say, I don't read paper. I don't read the paper. Now, I do think that's a lie sometimes and a cover-up, but you also probably played with guys that seriously did not. Like, they did not read that stuff, did not see that stuff. Yeah. There are guys that you've played with in the past that did not even acknowledge an outside world kind of existed. That's my point.
I agree with that. Okay, but now let's be also a realist here, okay? And I get what you're saying. Like we talked about to start the show, the quarterback position, it's the double standard. And to be the double standard, you have to put yourself in a bubble a little bit. Okay, I'm going to give that to you. But also, how much time do you spend in the locker room? Okay? And there's going to be times when your head's not in the playbook. Okay? So as that, as that outlier, as that guy who's supposed to be in charge of the team, that field general, it is your responsibility to know the culture of the locker room. It's your responsibility to know what your teammates are thinking, how they're feeling, all that stuff, right? Because, I get it. It's a sport, but also it's a brotherhood, okay? And when there's a disgruntled guy in that locker room, it's probably Drew Brees' job to try to settle stuff, okay? And that's why, this is where all the anger comes from his teammates, because he is that guy. He is the guy that they look up to. He is the leader. He is the guy that's in the locker room that's trying to establish the culture and obviously that winning tradition, okay? So when Drew Brees goes, I disagree with the protest and the anthem and all that stuff, I'm not going to support it. Once again, okay, I understand his grandparents were in the Army and he can think whatever he wants to think. But when he said that, he didn't take his teammates into account. And that's my point. I get it. The quarterback position, it's tricky, man. And you're going to have these blinders on probably for 99% of what's going on in the outside world. I get that. But you're not going to have your blinders on how your teammates feel. You're not going to have your blinders on just how much anger right now, how much resentment, how much sadness is going on because of racial injustice. You can't have the blinders on to that. And when Drew Brees said that comment, that was an excuse that he had his blinders on, and you can't say that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, he did have his blinders on, though.
Well, no, he did.
We admit that he did, because he's tone deaf to it.
Of course.
And so how do we get there?
It's not acceptable to have those blinders on.
It's not. But I'm not saying this is an acceptable practice to be in this bubble.
Yeah.
I'm saying it is a practice.
Sure.
And Mike Norvell's case is just another example of it. And my interpretation of what happened with Mike Norvelle, and this is not just him. This is the same thing that happened with Dabo Swinney about the coach using the N-word, is that we're going to move on, and we're going to go play football games. We're going to win football games, and we're going to win national championships because that's what people want. That's what people talk about. That's the pressure on us to do so. If a kid gets arrested or a kid gets in a fight, we're going to fix that. Don't worry about that. We need him on the field. That is what happens in our sports world. We fix the problems that can be fixed. Just go ask Urban Meyer in Florida through that stretch of what they fixed at times. Now, there are sometimes it's unfixable, and sometimes players get caught. And sometimes coaches now get caught in the act of it. But that is my point, where the bubble is bursting a little bit. You are seeing things said by former teammates, by former players, maybe even by former coaches in the last few days, in the last week, that normally people would be a little tentative to say.
It has to burst, Ben. Okay, now let's table the Drew Brees discussion for a second.
Yeah, because it kind of feels separate.
But I'm going to try to make a big point here in terms of NFL and college football, okay? Because it is different. Drew Brees is a grown man, okay? Drew Brees has children. Drew Brees has lived a lot of life. He's seen a lot of things. He's been in a lot of locker rooms and shared different opinions with different players, okay? So Drew Brees is a grown man. When we talk about college coaches right now, this isn't Austin Lane, former NFL player, or Austin Lane, whatever. This is Austin Lane being a father right now, okay? I have a 5-year-old son. I don't know if he's going to play college football. I'm not going to push him to play, but if he wants to play college football, you better believe I'm gonna encourage him, and I'm trying to be the best cheerleader out there. Not going to get in a fight in the field or anything like that, but I'm going to be the best cheerleader out there.
You did say he's going to play baritone sax.
Oh, and baritone sax. No, I said French horn. Get it right, because French horn is the hardest instrument to play in the band. Do your research, Brent. Come on. But listen, I've been through enough college pitches, not from D1 coaches, but D2 and D3, where they come into your house and what do they say most importantly? We're going to take care of your son. We're going to make sure your son's in good hands. Of like the 5 to 10 college coaches that I talked to, that my mom talked to, they always told her the same thing. Your son's going to be in good hands with us, and we're going to take care of him, okay? So I get it. It's my job as a father to shape my son in an image that's respectful, to shape him as a productive member of society, and to shape him as a kid that's going to do the right thing, okay? That's my job as a parent. I understand that. But when I send him to college, I expect those guys that come into my house and say all these things, how they're going to take care of him. Well, I expect those coaches to do the right thing, okay? I expect those coaches to show him the way because he is still a kid. Okay? He's going away to college and school. School's not real life. Living in a dorm room with other roommates and all that stuff, it's not real life. Getting a scholarship, that's not real life. So I expect those coaches to have what's best for my son in mind. And when you have coaches right now that are maybe afraid of the bubble bursting or are doing these things that kind of shows like, listen, you live in this bubble and it's not real life, I have an issue with that, Brent, okay? Because, yeah, I understand. If you're a head coach, you have to be in a bubble, and it's about winning games, and it's all this stuff. But it's also, I look at Dabo Swinney. Dabo Swinney preaches how many times he's trying to build young men. He's trying to develop young men. Well, which one is it? What's more important? Developing young men for the future or winning those national championships? Sure, you can have both of them, but you better figure out which one's going to be more important because when that bubble bursts, that's the first question that will be asked.
I agree. It's well said, and it's part of it. And I think that's why when I say the bubble's bursting, I mean it in a good way.
Okay.
I don't mean this in a bad way. Mm-hmm. I think that things have been covered up in college sports forever. It's got us into maybe the issue that we see in the NCAA on the basketball side, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
I mean, we have swept things under the rug because what happens in the locker room stays in the locker room kind of mentality of, yeah, but things are good. We're making a lot of money and everybody's making a living and we're giving kids a chance to go to school for free and we're winning games. And, oh, yeah, there's this thing called March Madness and we love our college football on Saturday. I mean, so we protect that. I've said it often in the NCAA and the men's side of basketball is we turn our other cheek to it because you know what? I want my damn bracket.
Yeah.
That's why. Because we don't want to see anything go away deep down. We don't want to, even though we know it's not really on the up and up. Mm-hmm. But we turn our cheek to it as fans. Mm-hmm. Think about what they do inside the walls, that they know what's going on. And so I thought this was an interesting moment. The way I think they're so blinded by the bubble sometimes that they say the things they say. Mike Norvelle said, hey, yeah, I talked to all these. He gave a quote where it's like, I talked to all these players. I did this. I took care of it. I addressed it. Mm-hmm. It's time to go play football. You know, and I know he didn't exactly say that, but in his mind, that's how he's built. That's how he's programmed. Okay, let's take care of this thing. Let's go play football. Let's go practice. Let's go get to a team meeting. Let's go install, and let's go win football games. That's my job here. My job is not necessarily to look at society and what's happening and teach these young men, black and white, what is right, what is wrong. My job is to win football games.
Yeah.
You know, and so we have ingrained that in big time sports, whether it's college or the pros, because let's be honest, in the pros, it is your job is to win football games or you're fired. And the same thing goes for big time college athletics. But in doing so, we create these kind of moments sometimes, and they don't even think they're doing anything wrong. That's my belief. I don't. They're ignorant to it. They're tone deaf to it. But I don't think they deep down believe they're doing anything wrong. They just said, well, I'm the boss here. These are a bunch of 19, 20-year-old kids. They're not going to question this. Mm-hmm. They're not going to question me. I'm the head coach. I'm the one that told them they can't wear hoodies or anything else at Florida State. I make the rules. They follow me. Ego comes into play. But it's a program nature of the way we've built our big-time college coaches, sometimes our players and big-time players, and maybe even quarterbacks in the NFL, that we live in this, they live in this bubble. That's really not real life. And as long as you win games, anything's acceptable.
Yeah.
And so that's my point to it. So I think what we've seen in this last week is a Clemson staff that has been unbelievable this last 5 years. They're the kings of college football along with Alabama. They've been taken to task by a former player who, by the way, won a national championship on that team.
Yep.
Florida State. Before this guy who I think they like even coaches a game or really has a practice, being taken to task by a player. Drew Brees, who's one of the greats of all time, being taken to task for what he's saying because it ain't safe anymore inside the bubble. I think that's a good thing. I think because there is more to just winning games. Now, when we get back to sports, those winning games, the scoreboard, it matters. It really does in the long run. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but I think what we're finding out right now in the last week is there's more responsibility on these players and coaches than just winning games and performing and getting accolades. And I think that's being proven by some of the things that are being said.
And I wholeheartedly agree with you. And yeah, I don't want my thoughts to get misconstrued here. I do agree that the bubble needs to burst because then you find out who people really are. Okay. It is a twisted environment, though, and I'm going back to college football again here, right? Because a college coach can come in and go 500 in the SEC for 5 straight years. He can have academic All-Americans. He can set a record for the highest GPA in the SEC of all time with this football team. And what's going to happen to that guy? He's probably going to get fired, right? Because winning is everything.
Yep.
Winning is everything. And I understand when coaches sit there in recruits' living rooms, you know, those high school juniors or seniors, even sophomores, and they talk to the parents. Yes, I understand that it is emphasized that, hey, we're going to win a lot of ball games, man. Let's win a national championship. I want you here on my team. I understand those conversations take place as well. But I just reiterate the fact that usually the last thing that a coach will say to a family or, you know, a single parent or whoever it is that I will take care of your son, okay? To me, if my son wants to play college football, if my son wants to play football in general and wants to play college football, yeah, obviously I want him to go to a successful program and have a taste of greatness. Who a parent doesn't want that for their child? But I want him to go to a place where he will be taken care of primarily, okay? And I think sometimes in terms of recruiting, like we just talked about it with Norvelle, okay? I think Norvelle said all those things where we kind of lied about it a little bit because it made the program look good, because it made him look good and it made Florida State look good and it made the culture look good. Now, why he would say that and lie about it when he knows dang well a player is going to call him out eventually, I don't know, okay? But to me, that's what the goal was. And I think the goal, obviously, in that sales pitch, when you talk to families, it's the same thing. I'm taking care of your son. But at the end of the day, the way it sits right now, winning is everything, okay? And that's in life, that's in business, that's in sports, that's in a lot of things where you have to win to be successful or no one's going to give a crap about you. Let's be honest. So I get that. But in terms of the bubble breaking, I think eventually the emphasis on the winning is going to come back down to the level of, hey, let's make sure we're taking care of our guys. And that's what I want to see happen in college football.
I'm not sure it ever will happen, quite frankly.
I don't know.
I think it might be a little naive to think it will ever happen.
And maybe this is me just thinking outside. Yeah,
because money wins the day. And listen, winning is more, in my opinion, of the being right than doing right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You don't always do right to win.
No, for sure.
We've seen that.
Of
right?
course.
We've seen things taken away from people because they haven't always done it the right way while they're winning.
And let's be honest, sometimes people with the most money have done probably the most messed up things.
I want to just read you this, okay, because this is what got me on this topic, okay? This was from War Chant, and it was a quote from A.D. David Coburn to the Florida State Board of Trustees this morning. And this is where it stuck out to me. He says, I want to tell you that Coach Norvelle just finished a closed team meeting with the football team. I'm told that the dialogue was open and very candid and that it went well. Oh, that's fine. Okay, that's good. They had met about it. They talked about it. That's important. I mean, you make a mistake, you got to go try to fix it.
You got to talk about it.
And
it's not an easy conversation, but you got to talk about it.
This is the part that I think is systemic, and I know it's just a little quote, and I might be over-dramatizing, but I think this is what got me onto this thought and jumped out. The last part of it is, so I believe we're moving on there. That's what he said. And so when you say that to me, he's telling the Board of Trustees, we're by this.
On to the next one.
Don't worry. We're out of the headlines. We're okay. Take a breath. You know, we're going to still have our football team. We believe in this guy. We feel like there's not going to be this uprising now, and it's not going to carry on for 2-3 days a week and everything else. That's my interpretation of we're moving on there. And that's what, in our sports world, and by the way, in our business world too, we try to move on. Yeah. Instead of fix. Now, what could he have said? I don't know the right way to say it. I mean, I'm not the AD at Florida State, but I would have liked to hear him say, hey, I'd like to hear him tell the Board of Trustees, we're not going to forget about this. You know, this is a first step. this will be actionable, and I think we can grow from this, and we might even be closer from this. Why can't he say that to the Board of Trustees? Yeah. Because the Board of Trustees, you know why? They really just want to know that they're going to win football games and turn this program around, beat the Florida Gators and all those things. Mm-hmm. That's my point in this conversation. That's a systemic thing that's been built over decades and decades, much like it's a systemic thing, what we're talking about every day with police brutality and with these protests. And systemic things are really tough to change. It takes a long time. Nothing is going to change overnight on that. That's what got me onto the bubble bursting in sports, this Dabo Swinney thing, this Mike Norvelle thing, now the Drew Brees. We picture those guys prior to this week almost. Dabo Swinney, untouchable, man. Mm-hmm. He's awesome. Fun dude, super religious guy, believes in faith. Drew Brees just wrote a $5 million check. He's New Orleans. We believe in these guys as untouchable. They are on this pedestal. Well, the pedestal got cut down for some of these guys this week. That's my point of the discussion.
And I just want to go back to the comment, and this was by the Florida State Board of by the Board of Trustees, or what's the official title?
This was from the AD to the Board of Trustees to kind of fill them in on the last 24 hours.
Yeah. Listen, and this is the first time I'm hearing of that. I wish I would have known about it before because I would have written something up with this comment. But listen, you just can't say that we're moving on. All right? Yeah, we're on to the next one. All right, let's go next week. Because you know who says that? You say that after you lose a football game. You say that after you lose a close, heartbreaking football game, and maybe the quarterback fumbled the ball on the 2-yard line and it got recovered by the other team and you lose the game. All right, yeah, that's unfortunate that happened. All right, we're on to the next one. You didn't lose a football game here. You lost literally in the game of life, okay? You lost in the game of, whether it's right or wrong, and you lost. So, no, it's not just that easy to say, all right, let's move on. We're on to the next one. You can't say that, okay? There has to be the conversations. There has to be the dialogue. You have to reiterate the fact that what was said was very messed up, and you're trying to make the appropriate, I guess just things to make it better. You have to do that. You don't, you need to do that. I'm sorry, you don't have to do anything. You need to do that, in my opinion. You need to do that. So, yeah, that's very disappointing, to say the least, from an AD of a big university like Florida State.
Well, and 80% of it, by the way, his statement there, at least that I read, and I don't know if that was in totality, but that I read was right on. I mean, you got to have a meeting. It's got to be a candid conversation. You need the dialogue. But I'm just telling you that moving on part is a systemic thing. Again, it's not just a Florida State thing. Mm-hmm. That is not a Florida State thing. Every AD in the country most likely would have said that. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're moving on. We got past this. Mm-hmm. That's the message to the Board of Trustees. Well, if that's a message to the Board of Trustees, well, that's the message internally to everybody. That trickles down to everybody. Let's move on from this, sweep it under the rug, and go play football. Yeah. Let's go practice today. Let's get our team on the same page. By the way, an update here from Marvin Wilson, who obviously called out his coach. He said this in the last couple of hours. He has a 2-minute a video message as well. But he says this on the tweet part. Took a stand, we got what we wanted, and we are moving forward. Appreciate Coach Norvelle for encouraging me to use my platform and speak for what me and my teammates believe in. Be the change that you needed when you was growing up, is what he says. Interesting that it
must have been a pretty powerful meeting.
It must have been a good conversation.
Then. Yeah, it must have been a very powerful meeting. Absolutely.
And I don't mind. Michael Thomas did the same with Drew Brees. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of people that are not going to forgive Drew Brees for the way he responded to that question yesterday.
It's hard to believe that Malcolm Jenkins, after what he said about him yesterday, is just going to up and forgive Drew Brees. It's hard to believe a guy like Ed Reed, a Hall of Famer like Ed Reed, is going to forgive Drew Brees right away.
Yeah, and my thought on that, my initial thought on that, I don't know how you feel about this, is, and you said this earlier in the show, I think we have to be careful just to cancel people out for doing things. I think we have to look at it all. Obviously, the officer that killed George Floyd, he had all these other issues in the past. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like this one-time thing.
Correct.
And not that the one-time thing, by the way, would have been okay, but it was magnified that he had all these other things that were part of issues.
There were signs.
There were signs. And again, that's a systemic thing because it wasn't treated before we got to this, and it wasn't handled before we got to this. But my point on the Drew Brees discussion is we need to look at everybody in totality when they're making mistakes, ill-informed, tone-deaf, because he's done a lot of good stuff as well. Yeah. So do you just cancel him out and say, okay, we can never even Drew Brees should retire from football.
Yeah.
Or do we take a guy that's done a lot of good and have him be influenced by what just happened in the last couple of days to make more good?
I want to get your opinion about something here, okay? I'm going to give you two types of people here. It's kind of like a mock scenario, okay? There's one guy who's always been very passionate about, a cause. So, for instance, let's go ahead and talk about it right now. So there's a guy out there, and he can be black or white, doesn't matter the color of his skin, but he's passionate about Black Lives Matter, okay? There's another guy, Brent, who maybe isn't the most passionate guy. Maybe he is passionate, but he says he's passionate, but he shows some things, he's done some things that people kind of get rubbed the wrong way a little bit when he says some stuff, okay? And to be fair, he's lost a lot of his peers around him. And the peers are very outspoken in saying that this guy is not down for the cause. And they essentially crucify him for it, okay? Through the media, through social media, everything like that. That guy has a shot at redemption. And that guy understands that, listen, I made a mistake and I'm trying to get better. He's the underdog story. He's the comeback story. And he uses that story to say, you know what, I was in the wrong, but I'm going to try to improve myself and be better. Almost like a phoenix rising from the ashes, if you will. We've heard these stories all the time, regardless, okay?
Well, we celebrate those stories a lot.
Of course.
If it's alcoholism, drug abuse.
Sports are all about those stories.
Yeah.
Sports are all about those stories, and sports mirrors life. Which guy's going to be more powerful then? And once again, take the color out of it. But what guys can be more powerful? The guy that kind of had the come to terms moment of he had to change who he was and now he's a stronger individual, or the guy who's always on the same page of protesting for what he believed in? I would argue that the guy that had the come to Jesus moment, if you will, is even more powerful. Because he's the underdog story. He's the guy that's not supposed to be here right now, but he is. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I would agree with you. And I think that's the case. I mean, listen, if you want to even simplify this, when you're a kid in high school, you go to these assemblies.
Yeah.
And who do they bring in? They bring in people that have,
of course,
either maybe they killed somebody drinking and driving. You know, maybe I remember I don't know if it was just a sign of the times at that point where we're getting a lot of railroad safety and driving and people that had been accidents during train accidents.
We had those people too.
I still remember those speeches. Powerful stuff, right?
Yeah.
You do think about athletes who tell their story, who share their story, and have come back, and we celebrate that. So, yeah, I do think you're right. I think that is powerful, and that's why I guess that's why I kind of come in here today and say we've gone back to being right over the last 24 hours than doing right. Yes, you can. I think the majority believe Drew Brees was in the wrong. I think the majority. They're not everybody, because everybody's going to wave the patriotic flag, and then again miss the point again. But I think a lot of people that say with the timing, the tone deaf nature of it, he was in the wrong. But I also kind of was I cringe a little bit when I see not even Malcolm Jenkins, but I see the Ed Reeds and say, man, you're done. I see Shannon Sharp say, retire.
Yeah. Well,
no, don't do that. No, instead, let's have discussions.
Sure.
Let's say, well, listen, man, you're not getting it. You're not getting it enough. We need you to understand this, because the people that really respect you and like you, they will understand it more if you help them understand it too. Yeah. Don't put those guys in a corner as much. And that's where I come in and say, and I started the show this way, I feel like in the last 24 hours, and I understand the anger, I understand the emotion.
Yeah.
But we got to be really careful when things like this happen to say, all right, it's all about being right, and you're not on my team.
Yeah.
And instead, the do-right nature of that would be, hey, let's bring him in, man. Let's educate him. Let's Emmanuel Acho. Go sit with Emmanuel Acho in one of those sessions, and let me educate you, because you're not educated enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's great points, Brent. And listen, I'm not going to say that I disagree with Malcolm Jenkins, what he said, because I understand. I mean, I get it.
I get the emotion.
People are frustrated.
Well, honestly,
right?
I don't get the emotion. I'd be lying if I said I get the emotion.
But I mean, let's be honest. But we can understand. Listen, it's spur of the moment thing. We've all had those kind of things. We want to run and write an email, and then we delete it because it's probably for the best. And let's be honest. In those Twitter videos, those are the emails that probably could have been deleted and said a little better.
That's a good point.
But they didn't delete them.
That's a good point.
They set them out there, and it is what it is. And it's out there forever, okay? And their kids and their families have to see that, whatever it is. But I guess my point is, listen, Drew Brees made a mistake, and it's okay to be mad at him, okay? I'm not saying forgive him right now. No, I mean, I understand time heals all wounds, and eventually maybe you can forgive Drew Brees. Right now, tensions are high, emotions are high, and if you dislike Drew Brees, more power to you. But all I'm going to say is we'd be doing ourselves a disservice if you didn't educate Drew Brees. If you didn't try to pull him on your team and have that redemption story, that underdog story. Because at the end of the day, if we just cast Drew Brees aside and said, get out of our group, you're not welcome here, then we're no better than the people that we're trying to fight against right now.
Excellent. Well said. And the discussion continues. And the discussions happen like this all over the country. Discussions on this show often revolve around sports. Let's talk a little bit more of the X's and O's and what's happening in the world of sports as we get back to it. Some news and notes happening today outside of the protests. That's next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
A lot of cloud cover today. Highs in the upper 70s to low 80s with some pockets of scattered showers and a few heavy downpours. Mostly cloudy skies tonight, a lingering shower and overnight lows near 70. With your First Alert forecast, I'm Action News Jax meteorologist Garrett Biedenball.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds Buy One, Get One wedding band sale through June 14th at Beards Diamonds. Hey, Jacksonville, are you ready for some good news? Right now, you can score tremendous savings during the construction sale at Arlington Toyota. You choose 0 down with low payments or no payments until 2021. Now that's huge. Get to Arlington today, where you can drive away in a Toyota RAV4 XLE for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments until 2021. That's a pre-owned RAV4 for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments until 2021. How about a Toyota Tacoma for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. That's a pre-owned Tacoma for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. Plus, with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everyone approved. And you get Arlington's 30-day exchange policy on any vehicle you purchase. As always, your safety is Arlington's priority. So go see them today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com. May offers for full details.
Skip a meal during COVID-19 for Clara White Mission by sponsoring Breakfast to Go for the homeless. It only costs $25 for 13 meals a day, $50 for 25 meals, or donate $500 to feed 250 homeless for a day. Join us as an individual, business, church, or civic association. Skip a meal for the Clara White Mission today. Visit clarawhitemission.org and click on Give Now or call 904-354-4162. Clara White Mission, over 116 years of service to our community.
The following message is sponsored by the Florida Department of Elder Affairs, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
As prescription costs rise, many Medicare beneficiaries are having difficulty keeping up. The Florida Department of Elder Affairs SHINE program may be able to help. SHINE counselors can guide you to money-saving programs, including one that may help pay your Medicare Part D costs. For more information, call 1-800-963-5337 or go to floridashine.org.
If you're getting married, this is the hottest deal of the year, happening only at Beards Diamonds.
No other jewelry store in North Florida can match it. Now through June 14th.
Buy any ladies' wedding band and get the men's band free.
Yes, it's a buy one, get one free on wedding bands. But it's going on now through June 14th only, and only at Beards Diamonds.
Beards has brought in an extra designer inventory just for this sale.
So you'll be able to choose from the largest selection of men's and women's wedding bands in North Florida at the guaranteed lowest price.
All stackable, all right-hand rings, all eternity bands, and wedding bands. Buy one, get the second one free.
Save like never before.
If you're getting married soon or just want to upgrade your wedding bands, now is the time during Beards Diamonds Buy One, Get One sale.
Now through June 14th.
Where exceptional is affordable.
Beards Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center.
Or at beardsdiamonds.com.
If you don't have Safe Touch monitoring, there's a good chance your system is getting monitored from someone's home. Yes, work from home has come to the security industry, but not at Safe Touch Security. At Safe Touch, That is totally unacceptable and doesn't meet UL requirements. At SafeTouch Security, our monitoring center is committed to maintaining our high standards. The only guaranteed response in the alarm industry with an incredible 8-second average. And our two-way communicator provides the very fastest response from the emergency authorities for burglary, medical, and fire. And the SafeTouch crash and smash technology detects crime before it enters the property. Our halo of protection and SafeTouch cameras report crime before it happens many times. And every SafeTouch security system is custom designed for you and comes with our exclusive SafeTouch parts and labor agreement at no charge. SafeTouch security systems have a guaranteed response and are installed by real professionals. Know you and your family are safe and protected the right way. Go to safetouch.com right now for more information. SafeTouch, doing what others can't for over 35 years. State license number EF0000233.
Take a look out your window right now. Things appear basically the same, but you know they're not. Same with your business. There have been changes, some might even be permanent. Only time will tell. But in the meantime, how will you respond? Stay the course, or will you explore the new opportunities in front of you? At Cox Media Group Jacksonville, we know that those who explore often discover wonderful new things. If you're willing, we're able to help. Contact us at 245-8732 or email buildjax@cmg.com. And let's build Jax.
Been dreaming of subway tile and butcher block counters? Outdoor kitchens and pavers?
Oh, honey.
The weather's great and it's time to knock out those nagging home projects with a Honeydew HELOC from 1-to-1 Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Borrow up to 90% loan to value and pay no closing costs. Best of all, we'll give you a free wheelbarrow. That's right, a free wheelbarrow. Apply today at 1to1fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA. Just please, no more shiplap.
This is a CMG Open for Business report. During these changing times, it's challenging for businesses across North Florida, big and small, but businesses are adjusting to meet your needs in a safe and comfortable way. Here's today's list of businesses that are open for you. Florida Premier Building Consultants, Toshilet Hair Salon, Johnson Landscape Lighting, As New Again Pressure Washing, Got a Guy Handyman, Aldridge and Son Plumbing. If you're open for business, let us know by emailing us at openjax@cmg.com. Together, we're getting through this.
Hi everyone, I'm Kim, Client Relations Manager here at Reliant. Reliant has always been focused on the customer experience. Reliant has been a leader in the industry when it comes to using technology to connect with our clients whenever needed. So while everything around us continues to change and other contractors are scrambling to adapt to the new normal, Reliant remains steadfast, ready to serve our clients. Our client coordinators are available to discuss your roofing, solar, and hurricane shutter projects, so give us a call today.
If you're usually listening to ESPN 690 in your car, but your boss has you working from home this week, well, take us with you. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from ESPN 690 and Action Sports Jax. Tell Amazon Echo or Google Home, play ESPN 690, and enjoy all that sweet listening coverage.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anna Jar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
The NBA's Board of Governors voted to accept and ratify the 22-team return-to-play format that Adam Silver and the league put before them today. And so now there's essentially just a matter of the Players Association getting on board with this league vote. But this was the big hurdle to get the NBA back in July in Orlando. I'm told it was not unanimous. 29 teams, though, voted for this return to play. Also, NBA draft moved to October 15th. The NBA draft lottery, I'm told, August 25th.
That's Woj. That's the latest on the NBA. Let's talk some sports. Brent Martineau along with Austin Lane and Kuz here on a Thursday. And we talked NBA yesterday. I think what's interesting today, because we knew this was going to happen, right? This is pretty much a foregone conclusion that they were going to ratify this, and I don't think much even changed. Mm-hmm. The one vote against was Portland and Dame Lillard.
Dame wasn't lying.
Did he vote?
I don't know, but that's what Marcel actually, I posted about that. Marcel Robinson actually responded. He's like, man, Dame wasn't lying that he didn't want to come back.
Dame's over it, man.
What do you make of it, Kuz, in terms of what's interesting, I forgot all about, is like the draft lottery and the draft. So that will now take place right after the season. what does that mean for guys that would have been drafted by now? Where do you're just in limbo.
Goose?
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
you're just waiting it out.
Yeah. I mean, I guess so. Right? I mean, that's kind of.
Normally the draft is what? In June?
Well, I mean, we would have had the lottery by now. Like,
the lottery would have happened already.
Yeah, and then the draft is after the season in June?
Yeah, so it would have been in June. Yeah, like the end of June.
Yeah, so literally, I mean,
so what do you do?
Well, there's a couple things, right? Where, I mean, have guys even declared yet?
Yeah, all that has happened.
Okay, they declared. Okay,
yeah, all that.
But
has
like,
happened.
I guess like it's different though because there was an NCAA tournament. You know, like usually the tournaments where you go against pretty good competition, you're in a pressure cooker, you see what a player's made of. Like I think, for instance, Jimmer Fredette made a lot of money because of how he did in the NCAA tournament. Yeah. I think Steph Curry made a lot of money for how he did in the NCAA tournament. So like,
yeah, who are the top 5 picks even?
Hey. You got me,
I feel
Brett.
like I haven't watched a college basketball game.
I feel like there's a guy from Georgia that's pretty good, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's Edwards, yeah.
And I don't know. That's about it. So that's going to be different. Obviously, the player's waiting in limbo right now. Like, yeah, that's going to be different as well. I mean, there's just, listen, obviously this season, there might be an asterisk next to it. There's a lot of things that aren't going to feel right in the terms of NBA basketball right now. And then the draft is going to be a part of that as well.
It's pretty interesting about that. I guess we're not surprised. It's good to have it back. I'm still a little taken aback that it's July 31st, which means it's way down the road. Mm-hmm. But I'll be excited for it to come back. You know, one thing we've discussed on a small basis, what will it be like to have all sports firing at like the same time? You know? Because, again, the NBA normally wouldn't come back until late October. I think even in early November. Now they're going to be like August, September, October. I mean, those are 3 months where the NBA normally wouldn't be happening, or very quietly in October when training camps get back going. The NHL, Major League Baseball, there'll be more eyes on everything, magnified. I wonder what it does to our sports landscape. I wonder if it does help any of those sports out, or if it's just still in our mindset, football, football, football. Does it give these sports a boost to have all of this happening all at once and kind of flooding back? I don't know what that will do to the sports fan. I guess that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, you know, to be fair, I don't think it's going to help, because if you look at the UFC, listen, 80% probably of casual MMA fans didn't realize how crazy the Justin Gaethje Tony Ferguson fight was going to be. Now, I came in here and talked about it. We had Dana White on and we tried to hype it up and everything, but the general MMA fan didn't really know what it was. But the thing was, MMA at the time was the only thing in town. It was the only show you could watch. So people bought it. Over 700,000 pay-per-view buys. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Especially in the landscape of, you know, people being unemployed and, you know, money being kind of tight for a lot of people. So MMA benefited from that. If we were to get NBA back, then have the NFL and maybe baseball, and we'll see with hockey too as well. Man, to me, it's going to be a saturation. Now, I get it. There's going to be the diehards where, yeah, I'm going to watch my NBA and I'm going to watch my NHL. But to me, the diehards are always going to be there. Okay, the key right now is getting the casual fans, the guys that are on the fence a little bit. Maybe those hockey fans are like, man, I used to like watching hockey, but I can never find it on TV. Where'd it go? You know what I'm saying? Well, if that was here right
Max
now.
Kellerman said nobody cares anyway.
Yeah, well, Max Kellerman, well, we can have some words, Max, because my Red Wings are coming back with a vengeance in a couple years. #1 draft pick, baby. Bring it home in the lottery, please. Please bring it home in the lottery. Anyways, back to the point, though. But if the NHL is just by itself right now, it'd be doing fantastic, I think. I wholeheartedly believe that, okay?
Yeah, you're right.
If baseball was by itself right now, it'd be doing fantastic.
And it usually is right about now.
Exactly.
It usually gets in its own little...
Well, and keep in mind, with everything going on right now, imagine if baseball was around. You know, because baseball is made up of a lot of minorities. Let's be honest here. So... it could have probably did a lot. I mean, once again, I'm not taking out of the whole cash cow narrative here, but I think right now when we talk about... Well, if they all come back at once and all of a sudden it's, we got sports again. Sure, we got sports, and yes, we have DVR, and yes, we have all that. We can watch whatever we want to watch, but it's all about the casual fan. And I think the casual fan's going to gravitate towards what they know. And I think what they know more than anything, which is the numbers have showed us, it's going to be football.
Let me ask you this, though. because NBA, there's talk about, obviously the games are going to be kind of like, they're going to be going at all times almost.
Yeah, that's just cool.
So
it's almost like watching the Olympics in a sense.
Right. So, like, in theory, yeah, like the diehards will find it. I think the diehards for football, the diehards for baseball, the diehards for basketball, they'll find it. But maybe for a casual fan who's like, I don't know, sitting at home, just kind of, going through channels, and they see, oh, there's a Sixers versus Celtics game on right now. Oh, I might as well put that on. That's better than, watching Criminal Minds for the 5th time this week.
See, but I'm going to make an argument and say, well, when it's like the Denver Nuggets versus the Clippers on West Coast time during the regular season this
Late
year.
at night, yeah.
Late at night. How many people are going to put aside those primetime television shows to watch a regular season Nuggets-Clippers game?
But would they do that
Probably not that
anyway?
many. I'm sorry?
Would they do that anyway? Like during a regular season anyway? Maybe it wouldn't. Well, at that point, it's a diehard thing.
Well, listen, I think during the regular season, I think the casual fans kind of like, yeah, I'll catch you in the playoffs. But even with NBA playoffs now, what are we talking about? We're talking about how many teams in the playoffs, okay? To be fair, I don't think the numbers are really good for NBA playoffs for the first couple rounds because we kind of know what's going to happen. Now, this year, it's going to be different because players have been off. How are their bodies respond and things like that? So there is a little more of an unknown, a little more of an added element, and that's going to make things entertaining. But I think overall, are people the casual NBA fan, are they going to tune in maybe 2 o'clock on a Thursday to check out the Nuggets play whoever? I don't know.
Oh, man, 2 o'clock. You guys think I'm bad at doing the show now.
Well,
dude, that stuff going on.
Here's the thing. You know what it's going to be like? It's going to be like March Madness.
It is,
we
with no
didn't get it.
TVs.
Yeah, with no TVs. Like, of course. I've been
I got it right here.
I've been campaigning for how long? But maybe that's a good point, though, Kuz, and I kind of just drew this conclusion to myself. We missed March Madness, okay? We didn't get that. We celebrate March Madness. The country loves March Madness. It's one of probably the most watched things in sports. Well, now all of a sudden we get a little appetizer-ish
This is kind of it.
a March Madness with NBA playoffs for the whole day.
And so I was kind of reading a little bit more about it. It sounds like they're going to have, games, and then as long as the 9th and 8th seed are within a few games of each other, that's when they do like a tournament style.
Okay.
Few games to see who actually is the 8th seed and then go from there.
Okay, I got you. That makes some sense. Listen, here's my quick thought on how sports will be viewed when it comes back. Let's just say on all cylinders, say in August. And I'm not even talking fans. I'm just saying on TV where you can view it. I think there will be an uptick in it originally in the first couple of weeks and be like, yeah, it's back. And then I think we settle into our normal lives so quickly and back to normalcy so quickly that I'm not sure. Listen, I do think out of this pandemic, there will be 1 or 2 things like I'll take from what we did, whether it's more marshmallow baseball games at home or cooking a steak at home, which I didn't normally do, but maybe every few months did.
Brett's going to be taking pictures now, cooking steaks, can't wait.
But maybe it's something like that. But I can't say every bit of what I've done for the last couple of months and even working from home and those things will be done in 6 months when let's just say we get back to normal. And so I think for a couple of weeks, there'll be this uptick in watching sports, be like, yes, and I'm going to even try this out. I'm going to try this out. But I think that will quickly go back to the norm. I think.
Maybe.
One thing that's saving that is a lot of the shows are getting canceled. So it will be a lot of reruns. The only fresh stuff will be sports, right? I mean, aren't a lot of the shows getting canceled would premiere in the fall?
Yeah, they're getting pushed back. And kind of to your point, and maybe I don't look at numbers, so maybe I'm way off here, but at least the hype around what felt like iRacing when it first was a thing.
Yeah.
And that's no dig at it, but
I
heard it that one week, and then it kind of slowed down.
It's a good
call. I'm not going to lie. I'm sitting here right now listening to Brent speak his stuff here, talking about how, he might be all in for the first couple weeks. I'm going to laugh if NHL comes back and all of a sudden I envision on a Monday coming back from a Sunday during those Stanley Cup playoffs, Brent Martineau sits down next to me. He's like, I'll tell you what, Austin, those St. Louis Blues, man, that two-way hockey, there's something there. I'll tell you what, Joe Pavelski going to the Dallas Stars, what a big acquisition that was. I'm looking forward to it, man, because it's a possibility. It's a possibility that this whole, when the smoke clears and everything, you may come out of this a diehard hockey fan, and I can't wait.
You got a better chance of me quoting a couple of slap shot lines instead of that, most likely.
Which is nothing wrong with that either.
No, that's pretty good. Hey, real quick, coaches are back, can go back to their facilities. Now up to 100 players in the facilities. 100 players, excuse me. Disregard what I just said. 100 people.
100
players
people
are not allowed back in the facilities unless they're rehabbing.
100 people and then 101 including Mike Tyson if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yes.
He gets a special exemption.
He gets special pass because nobody's going
It's
to
like
mess with
the-
Mike.
He was going to say no.
It's like you were saying with the gold medals, you get like a a further line pass.
He has the Ryan Murphy YMCA gold medal, all access wherever he goes.
Absolutely, as he should. But does it mean anything? I mean, coaches coming back and kind of, again, some of these things are turning toward, we'll have training camp. I think Bruce Arians even said July 21st for his camp, which would mean, I think that's when most camps would start. A lot of times it's the end of the month. It looks like it'll be the third week of July that they are allowed back in. That's when players most likely will be allowed in, unless there's something here in the month of June. I just, like, I know it's a headline. It's great to show, hey, here's the next thing happening for the NFL, that coaches are allowed back in. I really just don't know what it means. Like, what's the significance of
I
it?
mean, to me, the coaches back in the stadium, like, now maybe that they can get a workout in on the treadmill instead of going to a local gym. Congratulations.
The wives might be happy.
Yeah, why? maybe the coaches are happy. Who knows?
I bet.
So I don't really see a change. I mean, to me, I'm going to really see the change. We talked about it before. The Jacksonville Jaguars have a lot of rookies coming to this training camp, and they don't get rookie mini camp. They don't get acclimated. Well, I guess a silver lining of everything going on right now is the fact that all the training camp and all the camp stuff we're talking about here, it will take place at the facility. Okay, it's going to probably take place indoors at the practice facility. So with that being said, once the rookies get in and everything, I mean, it's just a chance to get acclimated, man. Like that's important, because there is something to be said. Like, if you're a rookie and you have to go to a different college campus for training camp, and that's different. You're not accustomed to that where you're at. Well, now everything's going to be under one roof. So I think once the rookies get to the stadium and kind of get acquainted with everything, that's where you start talking about, all right, well, now we're making some progress.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. One other quick note. Doug Marrone and his family participated in the protest in San Marco. Did you see that?
I did.
There were no real images about it. I think that was probably planned as well by the Jaguars. But, it's coming off earlier this week, Peyton Thompson called out the 17 Jaguars, which included Doug Marrone. Yeah. They have conversation. He comes back and says, hey, Doug separated himself from the organization during that time. And also, we talked about some of the things he's done as an activist, and here we are 2 days later in San Marco, which is not too far from where the Marrones live now, being out there part of a peaceful protest. We talk about actionable. I think some people, the negative people, the critics people will be like, oh, this is just token kind of stuff, right? Yep. But as I've said before, and I've said it many times this week, I don't care why it's happening or how or motivation for it's happening. It's happening.
We don't have that luxury right now, Brent.
Right?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
cut you off.
it. You're doing it. I mean, if you're doing it, it's actionable.
Listen,
I don't know. What else do you want?
Yeah. The stakes are too high right now for what people are fighting for, okay? The stakes have never been higher. And in my opinion, you don't have the luxury right now to say, well, is this guy on board for the right causes or not? Is this guy doing it for, his true passion or just to look good in front of the media? You don't have that luxury right now, because we need everybody. We need everybody that you can get to support the cause. So you don't have that luxury. I don't think it's right. And listen, and here's another case. I think when I'm sorry, what was the player's name again that tweeted out?
Peyton Thompson.
Peyton Thompson, thank you. When Peyton Thompson tweeted that out, which was, a couple days ago, I think some people were ready to cancel Doug Marrone. Like, Doug Marrone's a grown man. Why didn't he stand up for himself? Why didn't he tell Tom Coughlin to say no? We're going to let our players kneel. Like, why didn't he do that stuff? And people were ready to cancel Doug Marrone. I know Doug Marrone protested last night, okay? I know Doug Marrone just didn't give a little wishy-washy press conference, a little statement on Twitter and say, yeah, okay, that's how I feel about it. No. Actions speak louder than words, okay? And last night, Doug Marrone spent his time, his energy, and I think he got his family involved, if you will, for the better cause. Well, so I'm not going to cancel Doug Marrone.
Real quick on that subject, will it play in the locker room at all? Does it matter? Will it be received well?
I think it has to be received well. If I think an NFL locker room is what it was when I was there, 8-something years back, then I think it will play off well. And also keep in mind, too, like guys like Leonard Fournette, he's going to have his own protest that he's working on for next week that he went on Twitter and announced. So it's good to see Jacksonville Jaguars, in the community, whether, they're quiet with their platforms or they're loud on Twitter, whatever the reason is, but they're out there doing it, and that's awesome.
Yeah, and Doug Marrone did that last night. We'll see what he has to say about it. I think he usually will meet with the media on Fridays. We'll see if that happens tomorrow, and maybe we'll hear from him about what prompted it, and maybe even more about the recent events over the last week from the Jaguars head coach. When we come back, a sport that really needs to have fans.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Maybe more than any other, in my opinion.
Okay.
Next on ESPN 690.
This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Ariel Helwani joins us right now at Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Okay, first of all, I appreciate the question and the knowledge because you do a lot of these, radio spots and you get a lot of, sort of uneducated hosts or things like that. So clearly, I know of your background, Austin. I know that you're a fighter, but it's good to get some educated questions, if you know what I'm saying.
The uneducated part will come from me. That's why I'll ask you about golf.
Listen weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. in your car or stream them. ESPN690.com.
When you think about your AC system, do you think cool, clean, efficient air? Or maintenance, costly repairs, filters, refrigerant, wear and tear from our extreme Jacksonville temperatures, year-round humidity, and salty air? You know that most of the time, AC ownership is anything but stress-free. That's why Wakehoff's AC offers stress-free AC ownership. For a low monthly cost, starting at just $100 per month, you get a brand new efficient AC system with a smart thermostat. All of your repairs are covered with both parts and labor at no charge. Wakehoff's is going to conduct all your maintenance visits for free, keeping your system running cool, efficient, and clean. And they'll even take care of all your filters, starting at just $100 per month or just $155 a month for the highest performing system. Imagine a brand new efficient system. No cost repairs, no cost maintenance, no cost filters, no stress. It's the stress-free AC program from Wakehoff's. Call them today, 880-5525 or wakehoffsac.com.
I call them 3 shirt days. That's when the summer heat in Jacksonville just sizzles. It's relentless, and you want to be prepared for it. Bold City Heating and Air will help you do that. Nothing worse than sweating in your own home and wondering, hey, what happened to the AC? We've been there before. Your air conditioning unit needs to be ready for the heat. It might need to get serviced. The hot weather is here, and Bold City Heating and Air is here for you, just like they have been for my family the last couple of years. Right now, it's $25 off an annual maintenance. Bold City will thoroughly service, clean, and test your system to ensure it is working efficiently. Then you'll be comfortable this summer, all summer. After the $25 off, it's just $70. Book your maintenance service now and save. Save now, beat the heat. Visit boldcityac.com or call 904-379-1648 to schedule. Mirza and his staff are ready to take care of you and your family. Be bold and beat the heat and make it a one-shirt day, even in the summer heat. Go to boldcityac.com.
Out of sight, out of mind still holds true. When things disappear from your day-to-day life, you think about them less and less. This includes your business. Yes, things are difficult, but if your customers aren't thinking about you now, how can you be sure they will be when this is past? At Cox Media Group Jacksonville, we make sure they will. We'll help you stay on the mind of your customers and even get into the mind of some new customers. Contact CMG Jacksonville at 245-8732 or email buildjax@cmg.com and let's build Jax.
For the ones we trust to always be there. For the ones caring for others. For the ones who keep things going, no matter where they are. In extraordinary times, extraordinary people step up, like the ones standing guard and standing on the front lines, and the ones who are staying apart while still working together. With your efforts, we will get through this. We're grateful for all you do. Visit Grainger.com for resources that can help as you create your recovery plan. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Thea Jeffers, owner of Breezy Jazz Club and T-Works Interior Decorating. It doesn't matter where you come from, it's possible to own your own business. But starting a business isn't easy. The Jacksonville Women's Business Center helped give me the confidence to keep going when the going got tough. At JWBC, I got the training, networking, and support I needed to help me reach my goals. To find out more about how JWBC can help you, visit jaxwbc.com.
Diamonds Direct celebrates the reopening of our local economy with our most amazing offer ever. 5 years, 0 interest financing with no money down on anything and everything. Yes! Now, for a limited time, Diamonds Direct is doing our part to help you get back to normal and celebrate your love like never before. Our prices and values are the best ever. Our showcases are fully stocked, and we're letting you buy now with nothing down, and you can spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. Been putting off that engagement? Get her a $6,000 designer ring now and pay just $100 a month. Did you miss celebrating that anniversary? How about a $3,000 Diamond Eternity Band for just $50 a month? Summer is the season for love, and we're doing all we can to make this summer one to remember with exceptional values, extra selection, and the most exceptional finance opportunity. 5 years, 0 interest on approved credit. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Off Town Center Parkway.
There's a new modern patient-centered orthopedic practice in Jacksonville.
We believe that the patient pays money for a doctor and should be seen by a doctor.
Ortho Edge.
They're getting the most technologically available medicine there is.
Ortho Edge.
You're going to get a much better experience with your physician. We all see our patients.
Get the answers right away and more focused care on patients.
Find out more about us at orthoedge.com.
Ortho Edge. We're in the DePaul building attached to St. Vincent's Medical Center, Riverside.
Tire Outlet, the local name in tires that you know and trust, is now offering mobile installation. Tire Outlet mobile installation is safe, no hassle, quick, and same day at your home or office. A Tire Outlet professional will bring and install your tires right on site while staying safely distanced. The only thing easier than getting new tires with mobile installation is making the appointment. Call 904-600-0089 to reserve an appointment. Tire Outlet is part of the First Coast community and is in this with you.
It's time for some straight talk. Even though most live sports are on hold now, big wireless companies haven't stopped playing games. They're always trying to lock you into overpriced contracts. With Straight Talk Wireless, there are no contracts. It runs on America's best network, same as the big carriers, but you save up to 50%. $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G. You might miss sports, but don't play games, you'll lose. Straight Talk Wireless. No contracts, no compromise.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Here at AutoZone, we're all about helping you get what you need to keep life moving. Like for that next oil change. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic Motor Oil, an STP Extended Life Oil Filter, and a Monster Energy drink, all for just $33.99. And if you need something fast, you can get it fast your way. Whether it's next day delivery or free same-day pickup, in-store or curbside, the choice is yours. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Restrictions and details at AutoZone.com.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Now, his wording wasn't clear, and he came out and said it. He owned it, and admitted where he messed up. But get this, all of America has to do that. All of America can follow Drew's model and say, hey, we messed up. We got it wrong. We did not hear your cry. We were insensitive to you guys saying, hey, we're dying in the streets and nobody's doing anything about it. That's why millions of people are in the streets right now. Not just black people, people of all different backgrounds, all different cultures, saying, hey, we stand with you.
That's DeMario Davis, linebacker for the New Orleans Saints, teammate of Drew Brees. And by the way, if you don't know, he also hails from Brandon, Mississippi, Brandon High School, where Gardner Minshew grew up. Played at Brandon High School a few years before, but is celebrated just as much as Gardner Minshew is, as being an alum and a native of Brandon, making it to the NFL. DeMario Davis, by the way, just a side note here, had an unbelievable year last year. I think he was second-team All-Pro, I want to say. Definitely a Pro Bowler. Had a breakout year for him some 7 or 8 years into his NFL career. I want to say he played for the Jets at the start of his career. You know who I said this to somebody in the Jags building, and it might have been a little bit, I don't know if it's exactly a spot-on comparison, and we'll see. but I don't even know if their athletic ability is similar. I think DeMario Davis might be considered a bit more athletic. But the comp I made is I could see a guy like Jaguars' 4th-round draft pick Shaq Quarterman following somewhat of a path that DeMario Davis did. I'm not sure if he will be an unbelievable player early in his career, but I think he eventually could be a very good player, a very, very good player. It might just come with some time. Again, I looked up. When I thought of that, I did their comps from an athletic standpoint, a little bit different. DeMario Davis faster than Quarterman was or is. But it'll be interesting to see if I'm right on that. Just a hunch of a little bit of a parallel.
Put it on the board. I like it.
I think the Jaguars would like to see a little bit more impact even early than DeMario Davis had. But again, I mean, sometimes it takes guys a little bit. DeMario Davis took him 7 or 8 years to become a guy that people even knew. Like, you didn't know DeMario Davis's name. And this past year is one of the best linebackers in the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the crazy thing of the NFL, where if you get enough chances and all of a sudden one day it just clicks. I mean, for me, in terms of pass rushing, it kind of clicked for me in Chicago. Now, I was on the back nine of my career, going through my swan song, if you will. But, like, I just had that fruition. It's like, oh, so this is how you flip your hips.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is how you incorporate your hands and your feet at the same time. But like I said, at that time it was too late. But yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not opposed to that comparison, okay? Because I don't know a lot about Shaq right now, but I do know that in terms of his mindset and the passion that he brings to a football team, you have to like that.
Yeah, finally, some levity here, by the way, too. Matt Sturman jumps in and says, Austin was right yesterday when he said he wears beat-up sneakers. Those look like hell. Must be looking on the stream there.
Oh, yeah, dude, look at that. Look at that. I mean, it's kind of getting to the point now where I'm gonna rock with them as long as possible, Brent, because you know how I am. But
sure, but how many pairs do you have of Vans?
I mean, on Vans, I mean, in different colors, I probably have about 8 or 9. Now, how many of those do I wear? I only wear one pair, and that's this pair. But I'm wondering, do I duct tape them to the side here? Because, like, you see what's going on right here? Like, if it rains outside, I step in a puddle, then I'm screwed.
Those are useless.
Yeah. I mean, then you have wet socks all day. No one likes wet socks. Yeah. So
stink up your car.
So, yeah, thank you, man. So, I don't know if I got to duct tape it and then waterproof them. I don't know. There's going to be some big decisions coming to me down the line about how I'm going to handle this shoe situation, but I'll keep you guys updated.
I don't know. Listen, I think you should retire them, but also
no, it's okay.
Now that you're like, I don't know if you Hall of Famer, you are like Hall of Famer Steph, but now we have a shrine in our house of a Hall of Fame. So maybe
don't have a shrine yet, but we'll
maybe
see.
You should put those in the Hall of Fame shrine in your home.
Oh man, I just I'm listen. You ever watch that show on TLC, Hoarders?
I know what you're talking about.
It's crazy, right?
I don't watch it religiously, but I've seen it.
The way it's got 30 cats, 10 of them are dead in the corner. No, seriously, you guys ever watch that?
Didn't watch that episode.
It's like the second time you've talked about dead cats.
Oh, I mean, you know how I feel about it. I'm allergic to them. I'm not a fan. Anyways, so like in Hoarders though, yeah, I mean, there's like, it's people that can't let go of things, obviously, and it's literally a mental issue.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, it's a serious thing. But like this one lady, she hoarded herself in her house, but then she also had like 20 cats. And, like, the cats could never go outside, so the cats would, do their business in the house. Mm-hmm. Well, some of them died. So, like, literally, they're cleaning out her house, and she's freaking out. Don't move that. But, like, they're cleaning out the house, and they're moving, like, this bookshelf, and there's a couple dead cats behind the bookshelf. So my point is, I'm not saying I'm a hoarder, but, like, it's hard for me to let go of my shoes is what I'm trying to say, okay?
I feel like
that was a roundabout way.
That was the most roundabout. I mean, cats died, hoarders were brought up. In order for me,
Peter's online, too.
In order for me just to say, you know what, I can't let go of my shoes.
Now you've got me on 2 questions. One,
let's go.
I thought, like, around Christmas time, you said your wife got you new shoes.
Because if you remember what happened.
No.
So what happened? Well, I think I told the story. So
those
my
shoes
wife,
are missing.
We've had a lot of deep conversations this week.
So here's the thing. So my old pair of Vans that I had that were beat up as well, I complained about those because when I went outside, because those were so beat up, like the bottom sole was just my foot.
Okay.
So when it was muggy outside or when it was rainy outside, my foot would be like cold right away, okay? Well, when I was going home to Wisconsin, obviously I needed a new pair of shoes because I can't go home in the snow and then have wet feet all day. Who wants to do that? So I did get a new pair of Vans for my trip back home to Wisconsin. Here was the messed up part, though. When I got the new pair of Vans and I packed them with, my wife threw out the old pair because she's like, oh, I mean, like any reasonable woman would think, why does my husband need his shoes that he's had for like the past 7-8 years? So she threw them out. And yeah, I was a little disappointed. Okay, I had a couple choice words. Wasn't in a great mood at the time. But now the new shoes that I got for Christmas, these are them now.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And then the other one is Brent. How are the cats doing that are barely behind your house?
Oh, door. I took care of it. Oh yeah, I took care of it.
Haven't seen them in a long time.
I bet you haven't, Brent. Hey, and that's all you got to say about it. Hey, wink, wink, Brent. I got you.
Yeah, we didn't know where these conversations were going this week and how deep they would go, but certainly didn't think we'd get in trouble from PETA.
They are petitioning a video game animal, so they'll go anywhere.
Really?
Yeah, there's this video game called Animal Crossing, and they're petitioning in
Don't act like you know what that is, Brent.
No, I do know. Like that's people love that game.
Number
right?
one selling game. Yep.
Yeah.
But they're petitioning at the fake museum in the fake game to release the fake animals, the fake fish.
Wait, all right, time out, hang on. All right. PETA is petitioning in the game, or so are they in the game, or like
they're like creating
the
characters and going and create, and so they can take photos. Yes.
Okay, so it's like a utopia, like a digital utopia, and PETA's involved in that utopia.
Yes.
Okay,
here we go.
Okay, I mean, Brent, what do you want me to say to that? I don't know. I'm trying to carry on the show here, trying to keep us from going off the rails. I don't know how to respond to that. PETA's in a video game.
I'm going to get back to the.
Thank you.
How about fans in sports?
Let's go.
Something. We have addressed a few times, right? You said, what's it like? Even yesterday with Bobby Ramsey on, we said, hey, Friday nights without fans potentially in high school football, that'll feel a little bit different. That's what kind of is fun, makes the atmosphere, the bands, the cheerleaders, the fans, the students. Mm-hmm. We've said NASCAR and golf and UFC. And now what about team sports? I really don't think basketball will be comfortable to watch when it starts back up late July because of the sneakers squeaking on the floor. It'll be weird, to not feel the energy inside the stadium. I think we've had pluses and minuses about football starting and stop, depending on how they view it. Will they put microphones? Will you really feel it? We even took it to the point of, could there be safety concerns that make it not unwatchable, but a little cringeworthy because of the violent nature of the NFL and football in general. So we've really had these discussions over the last couple of months. I saw something today that sparked me to say, and I'm a little biased here because it's one of my favorite sporting events, and say, man, that sport without fans, that event without fans would be totally different and not good.
What do you got for us?
In my opinion. And it's the Ryder Cup is supposed to happen this year in golf. And I've said, golf is okay unless Tiger's in contention. I'm not sure you'll notice it that much. Like if Tiger's in contention, you notice it, right?
When he won the last Masters, man.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and the roars, all that's real, and you feel that even off the TV.
Yep.
Well, the Ryder Cup is one of my favorite sporting events because of that nature, the elevated nature of it, the heightened nature of it, the chants, the almost trash talk from fans, depending on where it's being played in the States or over in Europe.
Yeah.
And I know you're not a huge golf guy, but
no, I get it.
But the Ryder Cup will have a totally different feel.
Yeah.
And it is scheduled to still take place here in the fall. So Steve Stricker said it will be not good without fans. And I agree with him.
Sure.
He's the captain this year of the Ryder Cup team.
Well, no, I mean, because, listen, the Ryder Cup, it's teams, right? So, that's what and let's be honest here. It's the U.S. kind of versus, it's Europe, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, there is some, USA kind of stuff going on, and there is kind of a home field advantage, if you will, because the venue changes every single year.
Huge home field advantage.
So I agree with you here, right? Because there is some pressure involved, right? I mean, I've had to hear Kuz talk about he's on the golf course now and he's doing really well. If you put Kuz in front of a large crowd like that's booing him, obviously that's going to have
ice
an
in
effect.
my veins, dude.
Dude, you can handle me last year when I was getting in your face a little bit.
To be fair, I didn't know what I was doing. Now I'm good.
Can't wait to see it next time
now
we go out together.
Green from 150 out.
But my point is that home field advantage, that crowd, I can see where you're coming from. And I'm not gonna lie. You said it first. You said golf. I'm like, Brent, come on.
I know.
But then the more you
I was
explain
gonna
it,
lose you. I know it.
But the more you explain it, I get it.
But it's the combination. You mentioned home field advantage in some sports and playoffs. Home field advantage is big. Like I don't think Major League Baseball. You get it. The home field advantage is a big thing. But Major League Baseball, the pitcher can be such a stopper that I don't really think it carries that much weight. The NFL, we've even seen or used to be, if you had home field in the playoffs, it was a huge advantage. It feels like that's gone away a little bit. I would say college basketball is a great home court advantage. It changes. The energy changes for your team at all levels. I mean, UNF, if UNF's playing at home, look at their home record the last couple of years. It's not just comfort, but they have built a nice atmosphere over there, especially for some of the bigger games. I think it's the one sporting event where you do one golf event where you do have home field advantage. You have this energy that you can feed off that gets you going, which is kind of cool because it's a sport that always is so silent and still for the most part when they're performing. So that dynamic changes big time in the Ryder Cup. And also it has an Olympic feel to it, right? Because of the USA versus Europe thing. So I saw that headline from Stricker and what he said, and I was like, wow, now that is a sport. That is an event that's like, that is going to feel so different, feel mightily different than anything that normally would take place if there are no fans at the 2020 Ryder Cup.
Didn't one year the winners jump in like the lake or something?
Didn't that happen at Sawgrass?
Well, it did with Jerry Pate. The first one here at Sawgrass.
But I thought like an entire team jumped in the water or something. Maybe not.
I don't know. I don't know if it was Ryder Cup, and you might be right.
It's going to be a shame if I know that and you don't. Let me go and Google that real quick.
And it might have happened. I'm remembering more champagne images of and in the women's golf, by the way, it's a thing. Like when you win to jump in like the lake on 18 or something like that.
Maybe
does
that's
happen.
what I was thinking of, just the women doing it because I was watching
There
that
was
for
a
sure.
time, I don't know if that still happens in women's golf, but it happened a lot
Maybe I'm
in
wrong.
women's golf over a stretch of a couple of years.
Yeah, regardless, there was the celebrating. Like another thing I remember is Ricky Fowler. Like they all had like their wives or girlfriends at the time. Ricky was single, and Ricky's just kind of like off to the side a little bit. But you can tell that they're going to have a good time partying later that night. And to me, it's almost like the Happy Gilmore effect. All right, Happy Gilmore was a very entertaining movie. Happy Gilmore was a very entertaining golfer. Adam Sandler, obviously, great movie. But like the crowd also played a part of that, right? Like that's why the movie's so great. It's because the people in the crowd and everything. You take the crowd away, you kind of take the magic of the movie away a little bit. So I think it's kind of the same thing for the Ryder Cup where, I get like the competition is still going to be there. And we've seen without crowds what can happen with guys like Tom Brady taking on Peyton Manning. But like this is different, because this is still a high stakes event, but it's also an event where it's like country versus, a bunch of countries.
I think you get an energy, almost a buzz, if you will, off playing in front of your home crowd or sometimes in front of the visiting crowd. Some players get ignited by that in any sport. I'm just saying this event will have a 180 kind of feel. It will feel maybe just like a normal golf week rather than what it feels like, which is in my I like golf, but this to me is a sporting event that is one of my favorites, like top 3 sporting events. So football, I think we'll still hear the noises. I still think we'll have the collisions. I think it's okay without fans. Like I think we can get by. Is it as good? Probably not, but I think we can get by. NBA, okay, I'm going to have to put up with the squealing.
Just play music the whole time during the game.
Maybe. But I think you can get by. I think there's still be a great energy level to it. I think performance will still pretty similar. I think UFC and even boxing, yes, is it better if there are crowds? But I think they're still they're kind of in that zone and you'll get the best of them. I'm honestly not sure you'll get the best of these golfers without a crowd there. I really don't know if you will get the true nature of the Ryder Cup without fans?
Two things. Number one, NBA, if you want to get that crowd interaction, that crowd noise, just let me cover the Milwaukee Bucks playoff run, and I'll be there with the Giannis Antetokounmpo jersey, rocking that Greek flag, and I'll be going crazy in the stands the entire time. I promise you, I won't be quiet. So
what if they did like a charity thing where you could pick the music that's playing? You know what I mean? Where it's like a text and donate for a song.
Man, well, see, but now there's a little gamesmanship because
request and dedication.
Well, because if the Bucks play the Raptors again, obviously you play Drake and you mess up Milwaukee a little bit because after that whole series. So I like that. It was a little gamesmanship. I'm sure Drake would find some way to sneak himself in there. But my second question for you though, Brent. So in terms of, because obviously for the Ryder Cup it changes every single year. Which fans are crazier? Like, which fans are more boisterous? Is it the American fans or the European fans?
I think the American fans have come across in recent years or in some years as being, I would say, more boisterous, but also because it's been less sportsmanship worthy.
Go on. I like this. I like the way you're talking to me right now about golf.
I think they would be labeled that way. I think, at least it's the impression I get, and people might disagree with me here. It's a good question. I think European golf fans, I feel like have I don't know about greater respect for the sport, but maybe enough respect for the other golfers, like the household names of Tiger Woods and everything. Like at the President's Cup, I think the Australian golfers, where it was in Australia, I think those participants had to basically tell the crowd, hey, get loud and don't cheer for Tiger Woods. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Tiger Woods is such a world icon that it's like, I want to see Tiger do well. I want to see him birdie. They're like, no, we don't. We don't want to see him do well. I don't think America has that.
Sure.
America's got Tiger Woods on their side. They've got filmmakers. They've got those kind of people on their side.
Yep.
And it's not hard to root against even Rory McIlroy, who's a nice guy and lives in the United States most of the time.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's a good question, though. I don't know if everybody would agree with me on that, but I would say the more boisterous fans, and maybe unruly fans too, that goes along with, would probably be here in the States.
Gotcha.
Depending which event you want to point to. Couple other things in the world of sports that we would like to get to. Am I missing an event, by the way, before I move on from that? I know I want to ask you a question. Is there anything else that would change wholeheartedly, sports-wise, an event? Like the Super Bowl doesn't ring true. Even those events don't ring true. I just don't think they change. If you didn't have fans of the Super Bowl, it'd be weird. I'm not saying they all wouldn't be weird. I'm just saying it would take away. It just wouldn't feel like that event at all.
Yeah. But to really affect the game.
You would not say, if I had asked you this question, one sport that has to have fans.
Yeah.
If I had asked you would not have said the Ryder Cup.
I wouldn't have.
No. So what would you have said?
Good call. What would I have said? I would probably lean towards. That's a good question, man. I can't think of it myself. I would realistically probably lean towards football, I think, just because, it is like the masculine sport it comes across as, and you have the fans there. You have, I'm always reminded of Robert Brooks for the Green Bay Packers jumping in the stands and the crowd embracing him here. So as far as the crowd interactions, I think, even the cameras, and this is more of maybe a college thing, but as far as the cameras, panning the crowd, I think you see that more in football than you do in the NBA. Than you do even in hockey. Obviously hockey's big too, because obviously people are slamming the glass. I mean, hockey is really the sport where it's encouraged that you do make the most noise, right? The whole time. I mean, there's not a sense where. So you know what? Change my answer, Brent. All right, so get football off the table and let's go with NHL playoff hockey. Because think about it. It's the only sport that requires the fan base to be loud the entire time. When you're playing football, if the offense is on the field for your home team, what do you got to do? You got to be quiet. Well, let the quarterbacks work and everything. But in terms of hockey, man, you have to make the most noise of all time. So I think hockey, actually.
That's the one I was thinking of, playoff hockey.
Yeah.
Playoff hockey as a fan watching on TV, but also hockey in general, watching in person is unlike anything else. Watching on TV, hockey is watching on even if you're a casual view is awesome.
It's just it's faster,
fun,
but
right?
It's faster in person, man.
No
it
doubt.
makes you really
but
appreciate
the whole thing, if I had asked Like, that's not a coronavirus pandemic question. That's just a question in sports. Like, which one feels so different watching on TV versus being there? And hockey would take the cake on that for me. I think actually in a strange way, soccer would too. Soccer, because I've been to some of the soccer matches like at Fulham. And when you're there, it's like, wow, man, this is kind of cool. This is fun.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Now, me being locked into a soccer match on TV, it doesn't happen very often.
Sure.
But the same feel kind of with hockey in that sense. Really quick, we won't have the debate. But Max Kellerman is getting crushed today for his thoughts on hockey and saying nobody cares. Well, that's a dumb statement. It's not nobody cares. But is he really that wrong? Like, if you want to tell me that hockey is not part of the 4 major sports anymore, I would actually vote on that side. Am I crazy? Am I like not a sports fan? I don't feel like hockey is in the top 4 of sports. I know it has been. I get it. I get the history of it. I also believe there's a big pocket of people that love hockey. I also know it's huge in Canada still. It's huge on a lot of levels. And I maybe I'm just showing my face on this because I'm not a huge hockey guy, even though I grew up in New England. But I'm not saying it from that point of view. I'm not slamming hockey. No, I'm just trying to say it from a neutral standpoint. I don't think hockey fits in the baseball, basketball, football.
Ooh, he said baseball, though, and that's where I got to draw the line. Okay, and here's what I think about it, okay? There was a time when hockey was one of the hottest sports out there, okay? I'm talking when I grew up, the mid-'90s. I'm talking every Saturday morning, Fox. They had that puck tracker. That was what? There's a red line that follows the puck, and when the guy shoots it extra fast, like over 100 miles per hour, the thing turns like from orange to red. What kind of black magic is Fox using? Like, that was a big deal. Okay, and obviously you grew up with Wayne Gretzky, one of the greatest athletes of all time. So there was a time when hockey was out there for everybody to see. I think everybody celebrated it. Obviously, I think, whether it was implementation of new rules, taking away some of the fights and everything, or whether it was the NHL and the ESPN not coming to an agreement, now it's on NBC Sports. Well, you can't really watch a lot of hockey. You can't talk about hockey because you know why? The big sports networks don't talk about it. Okay, now when the playoffs come around, sure, then there might be some experts that chime in and everything like that, but hockey doesn't get a lot of attention. And Brent, and you want to say that it's not a top 4 sport, I'll take you to it, and I'm not a fan of this, and I despise this, and I almost called out Jason Fitz when he brought it up, but I let him do his thing. When the Nashville Predators were a thing a couple years ago, it seemed like the entire state of Tennessee, and even really the country, was all about the Nashville Predators. Now, I couldn't stand it because I thought they were a bunch of Fairweather fans where it's like, oh, all of a sudden our hockey team's good now. Let's come out in full force. Let's get all these celebrities. Let's get, who's the guy from the pizza commercials? Married to Gwen Stefani. He does the voice.
Blake Shelton.
Let's get Blake Shelton out there and lead these rallies. Let's get all these country music artists on in Nashville from the CMAs to let's go Predators, and let's get the Tennessee Titans in the box and chug beers out of catfish, because that's a thing. Like, that happened.
It was the thing.
That happened.
It was.
Okay. But I'm saying, like, everybody had Nashville Predator fever. Now, once again, I couldn't stand it, but guess what? It was great for the game. So I think that there is the subsection out there that is still great hockey fans. And I think right now, the way hockey's sitting, the way it's lined up with the other 3 professional sports, I agree with you, man. And I think baseball is a lot more popular than hockey. I'm not naive to that. I agree with that point. But I just think, like, hockey is kind of like that band that you listened to in high school that nobody else listened to, and it was kind of your special thing, right? And it's like, I have this thing, it's mine, and I'm not going to even share it with you because I don't want you to go out there and be like, oh, check this out, this is a cool band. No, this is my thing, right? And that's where hockey is right now. Not to say that band can't get big again and all of a sudden now everyone's talking about it, but right now it's for more of just like the alternative sports fan, let's just say. But I think it's a few players away. I think it's from maybe a few fights away, maybe a few controversial things away.
Maybe a big star away.
Exactly. Maybe a big star away. Maybe just a few controversial topics away from kind of having a resurgence.
Yeah, listen, I think these next 6 weeks could be really good for hockey, just like I did say for baseball. But I'm just going to share, listen, from a hockey standpoint, I do think ESPN controls a lot of this narrative. And you hit it right on the head, man. ESPN would push hockey way more, except other nights when just John Butchergross is doing highlights, if they had the rights to it. That is part of it. They push a lot of the narrative. Whether you like it or not, I want to admit it, they push a lot of the narrative. They have football. They have baseball. They have the NBA. They have college basketball. They have UFC. They have these things that they're pushing. Even golf, I think, took a little, when they got away from the ESPN relationship at times, they felt a little bit of a hit from that. It's part of it. It's fact. Look where ESPN on their webpage puts hockey, okay? You know, like that part of it where you can click on some of the sports and they'll put like 6 of them? Yep. They put MLB, NCAA men. At least this is on mine. I don't know if this shows up on everybody's, but I think it does. Yeah. Unless they, now they might do this per like how you view things. But I don't think they do.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty standard. Keep going.
NBA, golf, NFL, and NCAA football. Well, then after that, there's like these 3 dots, and you can click other headers.
Oh, I'm here.
Is NHL on yours?
Yeah, but it's way
So that's what I'm saying. Soccer, MMA, golf, boxing, CFL, chalk, whatever that is, college sports, cricket, esports, F1, horse racing, NASCAR, NBA G League, NCAA W, and then NHL goes down there.
Now I'm getting a little offended, getting a little triggered here. Okay, so first of all, chalk is betting, by the way.
Oh, is that what
chalk is like the ESPN Plus betting thing. Okay, I get it. Fantasy sports are big. Not mad that chalk is in front of the NHL. I get that. You know what, NASCAR, I mean, I start to, my voice starts to raise a little bit because I'm getting a little more upset. But when you have, and I say with all due respect, you know what that means? I have zero respect for it. Because when someone says with all due respect, that means there's zero respect. When you have horse racing, and once again,
that was a hard H right there.
With all due respect, NBA G League in front of the NHL, I'm done.
They have cricket. They have CFL.
Brent loves putting salt in the wound right now. Brent loves getting me wound up a little bit.
I mean, that's amazing, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I mean, let's be honest. You didn't want Michael Jordan to be great, and ESPN doesn't want hockey to be great. Simple as that. Do the research, buy into the controversy.
Who's the biggest star in hockey?
Right now? See, I'm partial. I'm going to go with Alex Ovechkin still.
Still?
I think
like
so.
He's still playing?
Well, see, that's the crazy thing, right? Like, I think he had one of his best seasons statistically, and he's like 50 years old.
But they need a star, man. Like Crosby was that up-and-coming guy. And by the way, he lived up to it, but he didn't transcend the game.
Yeah.
They need a transcendent player.
Yeah. And then, unfortunately, this year in the draft, which hopefully the NHL, hopefully the Red Wings get the first pick of the draft. The kid out this year that they're probably going to take, if they do get the first-round pick, he's good, but he's not going to be like a Sidney Kid Crosby. Exactly. Yeah. You need a star.
They need a star.
You need a star. Yep.
So that transcends the game a little bit, captures everybody's attention. They might need to redo a deal with ESPN. When we come back, a couple other sports notes from the day, and then a final thought or two on the Drew Brees situation. And also, we did not talk Jake Fromm yet. We'll tell you about that, what's happening, what's the latest on it next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Mostly cloudy tonight, a lingering shower. Overnight lows dropping down into the upper 60s. Some widely scattered afternoon showers for Friday, highs in the mid-80s. With your First Alert forecast, I'm Action News Jax meteorologist Garrett Biedenball.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds Buy One, Get One Wedding Band Sale through June 14th at Beards Diamonds.
Diamonds Direct celebrates the reopening of our local economy with our most amazing offer ever. 5 years, 0 interest financing with no money down on anything and everything. Yes! Now, for a limited time, Diamonds Direct is doing our part to help you get back to normal and celebrate your love like never before. Our prices and values are the best ever. Our showcases are fully stocked, and we're letting you buy now with nothing down, and you can spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. Been putting off that engagement? Get her a $6,000 designer ring now and pay just $100 a month. Did you miss celebrating that anniversary? How about a $3,000 Diamond Eternity Band for just $50 a month? Summer is the season for love, and we're doing all we can to make this summer one to remember with exceptional values, extra selection, and the most exceptional finance opportunity. 5 years, 0 interest on approved credit. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Off Town Center Parkway.
Beards Diamonds has been busy the last few weeks, preparing their showcases for the largest inventory of wedding bands in North Florida.
So if you're getting married soon or just want to update your bands, you don't want to miss Beards Diamonds' spectacular wedding band sale.
Now through June 14th, buy any ladies' wedding band and get the men's band free.
Yes, free, and only at Beards Diamonds. But hurry, now through June 14th.
Beards Diamonds has brought in extra inventory just for the sale.
All stackable, all right-hand rings, all eternity bands, and wedding bands.
The largest selection of men's and women's wedding bands in North Florida, all at the guaranteed lowest price.
It's the buy one, get one sales event of the summer.
Buy any ladies' wedding band and get the men's band free.
Now through June 14th, only at Beards Diamonds.
Where exceptional is affordable.
Beards Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center.
Or at beardsdiamonds.com. This is a CMG Open for Business report. During these changing times, it's challenging for businesses across North Florida, big and small, but businesses are adjusting to meet your needs in a safe and comfortable way. Here's today's list of businesses that are open for you. Moms on the Run, St. Augustine Boat Tours, Brightway Fleming Island, North Florida Executive Transportation, Miracle Windows. If you're open for business, let us know by emailing us at openjax@cmg.com. Together, we're getting through this.
This is Pastor Abraham Lincoln Washington, and it's time for the truth. I always loved that story about the little train that said, I think I can, I think I can, and he did. Your attitude is going to determine your altitude, and you can make it all the way up the hill if you learn how to think the right thing. This has been Pastor Abraham Lincoln Washington, and the truth will make you free.
Hey, Jacksonville, are you ready for some good news? Right now, you can score tremendous savings during the construction sale at Arlington Toyota. You choose 0 down with low payments or no payments until 2021. Now that's huge. Get to Arlington today, where you can drive away in a Toyota Corolla for $199 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. That's a pre-owned Corolla for $199 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. How about a Toyota Camry for $249 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. That's a pre-owned Camry for $249 a month with 0 down or no payments until 2021. Plus, with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everyone approved. And you get Arlington's 30-day exchange policy on any vehicle you purchase. As always, your safety is Arlington's priority. So go see them today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com. May offers for full details.
I call them 3 shirt days. That's when the summer heat in Jacksonville just sizzles. It's relentless, and you want to be prepared for it. Bold City Heating and Air will help you do that. Nothing worse than sweating in your own home and wondering, hey, what happened to the AC? We've been there before. Your air conditioning unit needs to be ready for the heat. It might need to get serviced. The hot weather is here, and Bold City Heating and Air is here for you, just like they have been for my family the last couple of years. Right now, it's $25 off an annual maintenance. Bold City will thoroughly service, clean, and test your system to ensure it is working efficiently. Then you'll be comfortable this summer, all summer. After the $25 off, it's just $70. Book your maintenance service now and save. Save now, beat the heat. Visit boldcityac.com or call 904-379-1648 to schedule. Mirza and his staff are ready to take care of you and your family. Be bold and beat the heat and make it a one-shirt day, even in the summer heat. Go to boldcityac.com.
Let's say you have ED, male impotence, or maybe you suffer from PE and can't satisfy your partner. If you have either or both of these embarrassing conditions, Prime Men's Medical Center has the solution. Meet Dr. Rabinski, a specialist in men's health.
If you're experiencing ED or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center has custom blended medications designed just for you. There's no pain and no surgery. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or prostate issues, not a problem. If Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, Prime Men's Medical Center has patients lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. You'll see results on your first visit guaranteed, or your visit is free. And best of all, it's affordable.
For a private consultation with our highly skilled physicians, call 904-206-8105. We guarantee that you'll see results on your first visit, or there's no charge for your consult. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now. at 904-206-8105. That's 904-206-8105.
One-to-One Financial is Jacksonville's hometown credit union, and we've been helping people improve their lives and start businesses in this community for more than 85 years, longer than any other local institution. Like our name says, we work one-to-one with everyone, no matter their background, and we offer the best rates on loans and savings accounts, free debt counseling, plus no-cost financial planning. Learn more and join us at one-to-one-fcu.org, federally insured by NCUA.
This is a CMG Build Jack's Business Report. During these changing times, it's challenging for all. Business across North Florida, big and small, are adjusting to meet your needs and give you great deals to build back. Like George Moore Chevrolet, 0% APR for 84 months. See dealership for other incentives. Please support local stimulus. Email buildjax@cmg.com. That's buildjax@cmg.com. We're in this together, and together we will win.
Everybody, this is Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Hope you catch the show Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. But if you can't catch it, or if you want to go back and listen again, check out the Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 podcast. Just search ESPN 690 in your podcast app.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30. Action Sports Jack.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anna Jar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
You know, I think when you sit there and you say, hey, I mean, we expect to win the game this weekend. That's not cockiness. That's your confidence in, hey, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to prepare the right way. You know, when you say there's a big difference is, hey, coach, I expect us to go undefeated this year. I'm not guaranteeing it because I'll be honest with you. I have 2 national championships, and we didn't go undefeated in either of those 2 seasons, and we still won national championships.
That's Dan Mullen talking about some football. It looks like it's going to happen in the fall.
You going to give your apology right now?
We do.
Because, I want to address it before it's too late, okay?
We have a correction. So we're trying to figure out, right? We brought up this conversation. We're like, all right, hockey. And we got from hockey fans and Ryder Cup to hockey because Max Kellerman said, nobody cares about it. And we said, but is it really part of the 4 major sports? I think it's a fair question, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And that's a curious one. But so one of the examples, we go to ESPN's homepage, and this always strikes me. It's like, well, I have MLB and NCAA and NBA and golf and NFL across my time. Those are across the top headlines. Well, those are sports that obviously are pretty big for the most part. I think golf is a little questionable there, but they're the main sports, so in that category. So I'm thinking, all right, well, the other sports, when you click the drop-down menu, they're just kind of like the other sports that we in America at least follow, I think. Like there's F1 and there's horse racing and cricket and soccer. And I'm not saying those aren't big sports worldwide, but it looks like the ranking of sports.
Sure.
Well, we kind of figured out what's going on here. So if you really add it up, it's like some of the ones that you might click on or might be more popular are right along the top, like soccer, and we've probably even clicked on MMA, or ESPN's trying to push that on us.
Yes.
And then there's even golf, which I've probably looked up before, so maybe it is kind of, customized to my liking. And then the rest of the sports we have figured out are listed in alphabetical order.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so here we go. That was supposed to be an apology. We didn't apologize for anything.
I'm not apologizing.
Let me go ahead and speak my piece here, because let's keep in mind
you're the one that ripped NASCAR and everything. Submarine Mike's probably on line 3 somewhere.
Okay, Brent. So that was Brent it's at Brent AS Jacks. Feel free to direct your comments towards him about ESPN. Now, keep in mind, we are ESPN 690. We are under the ESPN banner. Once again, that was Brent Martineau saying his apology. Brent Martineau's apology. Here's my apology, okay? ESPN, they're a great news source for sports, Brent, okay? I think when we go down in history right now, we're going to be talking about the top 3 things of all time, the invention of the automobile, the first man on the moon, and obviously the last thing is the invention of the ESPN Plus app. Mwah! Chef's kiss. Can't get enough of it. Did Brent Martineau see a time where I was a little emotional, I was a little vulnerable talking about hockey, and did he capitalize on that emotion to try to get views? I'm not going to say he did, but I'm not going to say he didn't either. Now, did I say some things that I regret? Maybe, but I just want you guys to know it was out of emotion. I didn't see there in alphabetical order. Brent, like a predator, like a panther in the Sahara Desert waiting to pounce on its next victim, capitalized on my emotion and let me make a fool of myself. And for that, ESPN, I apologize.
Very well said. By the way, he has to take that tact because he's been warned by HR a couple of times from ESPN.
Who are you telling? I've been warned about HR for a lot of things, it seems like.
By the way, they are on the line. They would like to speak with you after the show.
Let's go,
I mean,
man.
he's already, what he said about cats and other things, I mean, he's got to issue strong apologies
Making
now.
a lot of enemies, Brent. What can I say?
No lie, too. Austin, when he started this endeavor back in January of 2019, had a formatted apology written up.
That's right. I wonder.
It was like a fill-in-the-blank apology.
Yeah. I think that's still someplace in my archives I can bring that. I should have probably said that instead.
You could have said it.
It was more
way.
from the heart. Yeah,
that was very well done.
Thank you.
Yours
is, I mean, and you're still sitting here just kind of doing whatever. So it's fine, though. It's fine. I got it for the both of us.
I just kind of, it's like a riddle to me. I think I'm more proud of myself that we figured it out.
That's a good point. That's a good point. You know what? Props to us. Instead of apologizing, let's give ourselves some credit for figuring it out in the first place.
Absolutely. All right. We go from a little fun, and we've been talking a bunch of different sports and fans and from coaches going back to NFL buildings and NBA getting back on track here the last hour or so, to some of the heavier topics of this week. And we talked a lot about Drew Brees at the front of our show today. We talked about Florida State and Mike Norvelle and Marvin Wilson and the latest statement there. And Wilson has come out and kind of accepted the apology from the coach, moved forward at least for now. We'll see what kind of actions are taken. Michael Thomas, by the way, for Drew Brees has come out and said, listen, I accept his apology. Not all players have done that. Not all players will. We'll see where it goes. We kind of believe, at least on us together, that Drew Brees can really be helpful in this whole thing if people don't cancel him out and push him aside. The one player we have not talked about, and that is former Georgia Bulldog and rookie quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, Jake Fromm. And we had said people are checking social media and other quotes.
Checking receipts out here, Brent.
The receipts are being checked. In the latest from Jake Fromm, someone went back and found a conversation where it took place in 2019, and it was posted to Twitter this morning, involved Fromm and a friend discussing guns. Fromm wrote, quote, "But no guns are good. They need to let me get suppressors," before adding, "just make them very expensive so only elite white people can get them. Ha ha."
Funny.
That was his quote.
Yeah. Throw a ha-ha in there, too.
Through a ha-ha, which sometimes can make everything all right and sometimes can't.
Yeah.
In this situation,
this is one of those
can't.
times where it can't, yeah.
Fromm went on to say he was not an elite white person later in the conversation. Well, he issued a statement. He also has, on a Zoom call today with his teammates, apologized to the Buffalo Bills. He said today, "I'm extremely sorry," this came out about 2 o'clock, "that I chose to use the words elite white people in a text message conversation, although I never meant to imply that I am an elite white person, as stated later in the conversation. There's no excuse for that word choice and sentiment. While it was poor, my heart is not. Now more than ever, it's time for support and togetherness, and I stand against racism 100%. I promise to commit myself to being a part of the solution in this country. I addressed my teammates and coaches in a team meeting today," and he went on to say, I hope they see this incident is not representative of the person I am. Again, I am truly sorry for my words and actions and humbly ask for forgiveness. So a couple of apologies from NFL quarterbacks here today. Drew Brees earlier this morning, and now Jake Fromm, one with Hall of Fame credentials, and a bunch of stats and a bunch of good done in the city in New Orleans, who's taken a bunch of heat in the last 24 hours. Another from a very young quarterback who has accomplished absolutely nothing and in the NFL so far, had a pretty good college career, and has new teammates. And welcome to the NFL moment. This isn't the best way to start.
Yeah, we've kind of spoke our piece about Drew Brees a little bit, and I'm sure we'll probably talk about him a little more to close the show today. But focusing on Jake Fromm real quick. We talked about the receipts, Brent. People are pulling up receipts. We do it all the time, okay? Well, for Jake Fromm's standpoint, that receipt was from last year, okay?
Yeah, it wasn't 6 years ago.
Wasn't 6 years ago.
Sophomore in high school.
I don't want to hear the excuse where you're a stupid high school kid. No, you're the starting quarterback of the Georgia Bulldogs, okay? If you can recognize a cover 2 defense or a guy coming through on a blitz, you can recognize that what you said was wrong, okay? So no excuse for saying it. I mean, what happens now? Listen,
it's easy to ask you this question because you've been in NFL locker rooms. If you are,
what does that quote say?
Good luck with that.
Yeah,
but you can almost put. This is the beauty of having you on here on the show, amongst other reasons. When we can embarrass you about the NHL sometimes,
too. Yeah,
but we kind of heard the response from teammates from Drew Brees. I think there's been a little bit less of that from Buffalo, at least that I have seen this afternoon. But what kind of problems does this present for a guy like Fromm, who's not necessarily the savior of your organization or even the future franchise quarterback of the organization, but I'm just talking about a teammate, whether it was the punter, the linebacker, but now a backup quarterback, if you will. I mean, what's the temperature in late July and August or even on Zoom today when you would have been in that room and hearing some of that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to when I played. Like, did we ever have a situation where like a rookie came in, did something wrong, and like we held him accountable, and he had to kind of get in front of the whole team and talk about it? And I honestly can't think of anything that severe. We always talk about, I've talked about it probably 5-6 times today on this show. The NFL is not a family. It's a brotherhood, right? Because you can't cut the weakest member like you can in life, okay? If there's a weak member on your team, you cut him loose, you say goodbye to him, you give your hugs, but guess what? You maybe never talk to him again. So it's a brotherhood. And in brotherhood, there's a rite of passage, and there's also a way to earn your stripes, right? There's, when I talk about the rite of passage, whether it's, obviously the hazing that I had to go through, you saw it, Brent, I got tied to a goalpost.
I didn't help.
And you didn't help me at all, but it is what it is. You're part of the media. You're trying to make a name for yourself, whatever it was, okay? There's rites of passage. And to be a rookie, you are the outlier of the team, okay? There's no doubt about it. Now, it's ironic because teams rely on rookies to win championships. Yep. Teams rely on rookies to win Super Bowls. And I think eventually through the season, if a rookie plays a lot or if he leads a team, then the team will recognize that and say, all right, well, this guy's one of us now. You're not a rookie anymore. Let's go. Now, maybe you still have to go grab the, you still have to go grab the lunch to go on the airplane and stuff like that and buy the whole team lunch. But besides that, you're part of the team. Jake Fromm right now, I understand you got drafted by the Buffalo Bills. I understand right now when you get the paycheck, it's going to say from the Buffalo Bills. I understand that when you rock that jersey, when you put on that helmet, it's going to be that of the Buffalo Bills. I understand that's your team right now, but that's not your brotherhood right now, okay? Those aren't your peers right now. Those aren't the guys that are going to go to battle for you right now because you know why? You haven't earned it yet. And I'm just saying, from a first impression, you couldn't have shot yourself in the foot, no pun intended, any worse than you just did, okay? Now, can conversation lead to healing? Can conversation lead him to being accepted in the locker room? Absolutely. That's what locker rooms do. But I'm just saying from a first impression standpoint and how that Zoom call went today, if I was a member of that Buffalo Bills organization and Jake Fromm was talking to me, I would have heard what you had to say, but I probably wouldn't accept your apology. Just one day after the fact or, the same day, I probably wouldn't have accepted it.
How much is on the black athlete here with these quarterback situations in general, but maybe we see more instances like this, who knows? How much is on the black athlete to maybe not accept apology right away, but accept dialogue and ongoing discussion rather than what we've talked about a couple times in the show, just canceling them out and saying, okay, well, you're wrong, and I'll continue to say it. You're going to hear me say it again. I think we have to be careful in society to be right and not do right.
Yeah.
So we get to doing right by having these discussions and dialogues, even for folks that are ignorant or not on board. So I know there's a lot on the white quarterback that we've discussed. And the white quarterback can be a big game changer in this kind of discussion. Yeah. And so far, they're 0 for 2 in the last couple of days, coming off a weekend where it looked pretty good with Carson Wentz and Nick Foles. Yeah. They could be leaders on that.
Keep in mind, you also have Aaron Rodgers, too.
And Aaron Rodgers, too.
Obviously, big name.
Came out yesterday. You're right. And I'm probably leaving others out.
Yeah, there's got a lot of guys out there.
But how much is it on the black athlete in these locker rooms to not just accept apologies and say, hey, you're my teammate, we got to go win, but to actually have deep diving, hard-hitting discussions of change?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And, as I guess try to break it down a little bit and absorb your question and try to think of a good answer here, listen, everyone has a line of what they think is right and wrong. Okay, whether you're black or you're white. For instance, we've been on the show before. You know how I feel about domestic violence. I think an NFL player who commits domestic violence shouldn't get a second chance because I don't think it's necessarily a mistake. I think it's a personality trait, and those things take a long time to fix. So you know where I stand about that. When we're talking about racially charged comments, okay, when we're talking about black players in a locker room responding to what a white player said, I think that we have to focus on, I kind of echoed this a little bit earlier on the show, but you can't cancel somebody out, okay? You can't just say that you're done with him, okay? Not from even a winning – listen, I don't care if Jake Fromm becomes a former – like the next all-pro of a team. I don't care if Jake Fromm never throws a pass in a meaningful NFL game. It's got nothing to do right now with stats and what he brings to the team. The fact is that – when he shows up to training camp, and like I said, he hasn't earned the stripes yet. He's going to have to earn them. But all I'm going to say is take football out of it. I understand we always try to mirror football and society. This is more, in my opinion, it's a society issue, okay? Where if you're going to throw this kid out, it's exactly what I think about when players in college get in trouble and they get let go of colleges, okay? Say a kid is in college, plays college football, gets in trouble. Maybe he gets accused of something they didn't do at a party, and they just kick him out of the university, okay? Maybe it was a DUI, something like whatever it is, but they kick him off the team. That kid now is out of the university. He's away from his football team, and he's just in society. He's in society as a bitter man who doesn't get a second chance, okay? With Jake Fromm right now, there's two options. Either you say, you know what, Jake Fromm, we're done with you. Good luck with yourself. And you just cast him aside. You cast him to the alley, and you know what? Jake Fromm will probably be a bitter man for that. Now, does he deserve it? Some people are going to say yeah. Some people are going to say no. I don't think he deserves it because at the end of the day, what do we talk about, Brent? What's more important? Having leaders out there who have always been for the cause, or having leaders out there who were once misled, who were once misguided, who have risen from the ashes, looked upon themselves and try to make themselves a better person? That's a guy you can also follow behind. So with that being said, I think the black players in that locker room, and it doesn't have to be today, it doesn't have to be tomorrow. I get it. Sometimes it takes time to heal these wounds. But eventually, you have to educate Jake Fromm, because that's not only from it's being a good teammate, but it's also being a good friend, it's being a good brother, and it's being a good member of society.
Well said. Good way to end the show here today. Another powerful moment here in Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Brent Martin, Austin Lane. The conversations will continue. The dialogue and discussions still happening across our sports world and across our country. And we'll do it right here on ESPN 690 as well. We'll be back on a Friday tomorrow. Hope you and your families are doing well. Have a good rest of the night here in Jacksonville and beyond. And make sure you check out TV tonight on CBS 47 and Fox 30 for the latest.
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz. Judge Judy is set to end after the show's 25th season, but that doesn't mean Judge Judy is going away. The Mega Millionaire syndication queen will begin production on a new show called Judy Justice.
Oh, you know who made the decision? Viacom. They're clearing her off the books to make room for Romo.
It's a good guess. Cap space. You want more from the Dan Le Batard Show? Check out the podcast, wherever you get your podcast.
Diamonds Direct celebrates the reopening of our local economy with our most amazing offer ever. 5 years, 0 interest financing with no money down on anything and everything. Yes! Now, for a limited time, Diamonds Direct is doing our part to help you get back to normal and celebrate your love like never before. Our prices and values are the best ever. Our showcases are fully stocked, and we're letting you buy now with nothing down, and you can spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. Been putting off that engagement? Get her a $6,000 designer ring now and pay just $100 a month. Did you miss celebrating that anniversary? How about a $3,000 Diamond Eternity Band for just $50 a month? Summer is the season for love, and we're doing all we can to make this summer one to remember with exceptional values, extra selection, and the most exceptional finance opportunity. 5 years, 0 interest on approved credit. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Off Town Center Parkway.
If you don't have Safe Touch monitoring, there's a good chance your system is getting monitored from someone's home. Yes, work from home has come to the security industry, but not at Safe Touch Security. At Safe Touch, that is totally unacceptable and doesn't meet UL requirements. At Safe Touch Security, our monitoring center is committed to maintaining our high standards. The only guaranteed response in the alarm industry with an incredible 8-second average. And our two-way communicator provides the very fastest response from the emergency authorities for burglary, medical, and fire. And the Safe Touch crash and smash technology detects crime before it enters the property. Our halo of protection and Safe Touch cameras report crime before it happens many times. And every Safe Touch security system is custom designed for you and comes with our exclusive Safe Touch